The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we could talk about. Yes,
speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Thursday, May 27th, 2021, and we have to open the show on a sad note. I don't want to do it. We have to do it. It starts after this beat drop from Twag. Please turn the music off, Jay. Jesus Christ. Let's have a moment of silence, please, for hockey season being completely over. Moment passed. In like a lion, out like a cheetah. Hockey season is over. Just like that. 6 games in the first round. Pittsburgh Penguins are sent to the summer to go fishing. Hopefully teach Tristan Jarry how to play goalie again. After an incredibly electric evening in the Coliseum over there in Long Island, Pierre Maguire had a couple lines last night about the New York Islanders that was very, very cool, very, very sentimental, and very much put into perspective what the Islanders mean to the Long Island people. Now, Pierre Maguire said in the middle of that game, because the crowd was loud. I mean, it was awesome. It was playoff hockey. It was the NHL playoffs. The most I've seen the NHL playoffs be thus far in the Coliseum. The Islander fans showed up in a massive way. And Pierre said, this is their team. They didn't come from anywhere else. This team has always been here. This is their team. And I find that fascinating because if you think around there, Brooklyn's got the Nets now, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bronx got the Yankees, right? Isn't that kind of like the Bronx? That's like their thing. Manhattan, who has the Knicks and the Rangers.
Yeah.
Right, if you think about that, that happens. And then the Islanders have Long Island. It's like their thing, and that's like, what, 40 minutes out, I guess, if you ride on a thing, like each of the stuff. Mm-hmm. It was an amazing. I did not give enough credit to the Islanders fans before getting a chance to witness the Islanders fans as the first real fan base back after COVID. They were unbelievable. Rude. Obviously.
Of course. Yeah.
They were bullying a guy who had been through enough and forgot how to play the sport that he was trying to play in the highest place that he's ever had to play it before, which is our goalie, Jarry. They were chanting his name the entire time. Then they're chanting Crosby's name. They're saying, and I actually like it. I'm like, yeah, chant the greatest of all time's name. Crosby's like the Yankees. He's going to sell out everywhere he goes. Come watch the guy who is better at hockey than everybody else. They're chanting his name. They're chanting Jarry's name. I'm like, hey, listen, you chant Crosby's name. But once he ate that cross-check in front of the net and his body laid lifeless on the ice and not one single Penguin player came and fought anybody.
Yeah.
I was fucking done with him.
Yep.
Not when Jarry let in a goal off of his chest through the 5-hole to make it a 2-goal lead. Not whenever we got a double minor with 4 minutes left in the game to put us on a power play for the rest of the game down 2. Not whenever. I had already given up by then, and it was when Sidney Crosby laid lifeless on the ice. Blow the team up. Fucking get him out of there.
Wow.
That coach, Sully, great run, pal. Appreciate everything you've done, man.
Thank you, Sully.
Hell of a run. I appreciate what you've done, man. A lot of cups and everything like that, but that team got bullied. That team had a goalie that forgot how to play goalie. That team was supposed to win another Stanley Cup. That team was supposed to give me ammo to talk shit on everybody for at least the next month and a half, 2 months. That team was a team that I, as a child and is the only team that I've ever been a fan of, like actual fan of. And that team is now going to hit a stage where we're going to have to rebuild this thing. We got a new president, we got new everything. We're going to get rid of the coach. Hopefully, we got to keep Sid. Obviously, have to keep Sid. Going to have to keep Gino. But I've heard Ovechkin's maybe a free agent. Whoa. He's potentially a free agent. I mean, let's go ahead and do this thing. People are going to want to come play with Sid. Let's go ahead and bring them in. Let's go ahead and make this thing right. Let's rebuild this. New coach, new goalie for sure, and a new team. Let's go ahead and win another Stanley Cup. But now that the season is over, it's a shame we never have to talk about hockey again.
Well,
good luck to all the teams still participating in something that isn't even real anymore.
Don't you worry, because the real Hockey Town USA will take care of the Islanders because the fake Hockey Town USA couldn't do it.
Okay, so the Boston Bruins Bruins have been waiting for the winner of the Islanders Penguins to see who's going to meet in the next round. Boston Bruins, New York Islanders. Is Boston allowing fans?
Yeah, they're not full capacity like the Islanders were at all, but they do have fans in there.
It was like they were on top of the ice.
Yeah.
And I think they're blowing that place up. They're going to make a new arena, and it won't be anywhere near as awesome. You know, like, for instance, I talked about the Igloo yesterday, which is where the Penguins used to play before they moved into PPG or whatever. It was right across the street. They imploded that place. It was a big deal in the city of Pittsburgh. I think literally they stopped work the day it was imploded. Like, hey, thank you, Igloo.
Great, love you,
great
Igloo.
performance. I mean, it was a really sad day, but that place, you know, kind of a shithole. Seats weren't great, so you didn't want to sit down. Also, the way it was built, you're right on top of the ice. Yeah. I mean, it was like a gladiator-like feeling. Then obviously PPG comes in, still a nice place, very nice place, but it's kind of a little bit more comfortable. Hey, we're going to raise the prices. We want people to feel a little bit, you know, like it's modern. Lucas Oil Stadium, same type of thing. RCA Dome, I guess I never got to play in there. It was like 2 years before I got here. I guess that place was a shithole in comparison to the Lucas Oil Stadium, but everybody was standing. I guess the way it was built, the sound would go off the roof. It was like they were on top of the field. As these new stadiums kind of unfold, it's almost like you lose that gladiator-like feel. It's almost like you kind of miss the old days of where it felt like somebody could just spit on a player. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's why Madison Square Garden ain't never going to change, right?
No.
Madison Square Garden's always going to be Madison Square Garden. Trey Young got spit on over 50 Cent's head last night by a New York Knicks fan. But it's like those places are hard to come by now with all the billions and billions of dollars spent on making stadiums more comfortable, more relaxed. Hey, here's the internet. It's going to be better. You can order at your seats. You sit down and be comfortable. Those places like the Coliseum, I've never been in there. But I assume that people in there don't want to sit down. I assume it's not a place that's like, hey, come in here, sit down, get comfortable. We're going to bring servers out to you to bring some wine or anything like that. That place was magical. And this is the last run for that place.
Yep.
I hope they get a chance to bottle it up because, next year, whenever they build the new stadium or arena or whatever, it's going to be big, it's going to be wide, it's not going to be the same thing. And it's just, I miss those dungy-like places, but I completely understand why people aren't going to want to pay $200 for a ticket for one of those places. So I understand why the leagues are doing what they're doing, but I do feel like that's something we're going to miss out on as sports kind of go forward and evolve.
They were trying to design the new one with like the low ceiling and kind of the same way as the
I hope
Coliseum
so.
is now, but it is probably still going to be hoity-toity.
How come they don't do that though? Like Seattle, the Seahawks, they built that stadium and it's still loud. It was built to be loud or whatever, but it's still probably pretty nice. How come they don't realize like, oh, everybody else is saying the environment gets completely lost whenever we build a stadium. Why don't we still try to keep well, we could do that, or we could open up a little bit more and add like another, $200,000 worth of tickets every single game. It's like that fine balance in there, and I just hope we don't lose. Like Madison Square Garden will always be Madison Square Garden.
Right.
We're not going to blow that place up and move it. So that's still like on top of it. It's more for the Knicks than the Rangers, by the way. The Rangers a little bit more spread out, but the Knicks, it feels like they're on top of that court almost. It was, I enjoyed watching that Coliseum operate last night, even though the game was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Heartbreaker.
Well, we'll see how loud they are when they get a face Tuukka Rask and not a shooter tutor in that. And
That's
a
right.
guy can actually stop some pucks.
Yeah, it's easy to get fucking going as a hockey fan whenever you're playing against a goalie that has no idea what he's doing. I mean, first shot he faced last night, high glove side goal.
Yeah.
All right.
Can't stop beat.
All right. The Pens went into that game, and I think that's why Sydney just fucking at one point just kill me, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to score 7 goals here tonight. All right.
Can't do it.
Now,
Fuck
Sydney has to score, too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to find out he was very hurt, I assume. I think he probably had a
hope so.
broken leg, maybe. Or
Something like that.
Maybe even broken hips or something.
Yeah.
Wrist.
To the Isles' credit, that's just incredibly demoralizing. To every time you score and take a lead, that they answer right back.
Bang! Well, it's to the Islanders' credit, I guess they were able to get pucks just on frame because it felt like if you just got enough of those on frame, that Jari was going to let it go in at some point. And now Jari's probably a really nice guy. Okay? And we had been dancing on this guy's grave for a long time.
I want his head on a spike, Pat.
That's
I want
how-
him paraded down the streets of Pittsburgh.
That's how a lot of people feel.
Yeah.
And Nick doesn't feel that way. He was just echoing the sentiments of what he saw in Pittsburgh, obviously.
Cut off his head.
That's what Nick is once again
Good
echoing
Lord.
other people's sentiment. Nick is from Pittsburgh, diehard Penguin fan, world ball hockey champion. Okay, but what Pittsburgh people are saying about Jari right now, Jari has earned. I mean, without him in goal, with somebody, maybe even the legacy guy, maybe even a Maxime legacy guy, which we thought for sure was going in once the puck hits off of Jari's chest, and then he bats it in with his own thing, basically.
Right.
Like, excuse me, can you score on me more? Once that happens, legacy we thought was going in. Sullivan says, nah, we're not doing it. But not only that move by Sullivan, Sid and Gino, the toughest guys we got, the best guys we got, they're the only ones that will scrap or fight or anything. They're showing highlights how the Islanders were just like, hey, everything Sidney's doing, he's getting crushed. It's like, this is what I'm talking about when I say, if Sidney Crosby was playing during the Gretzky era, okay, there would have been somebody on the Pittsburgh Penguins who, as soon as Sid got hit the way he got hit 1 of 30 times last night, as soon as that cross check hits Sidney in the back, there's somebody coming with a stick like they're Shohei Ohtani right at the head of the fucking person, okay? That is just something I think that has been mismanagement, but that's why we have a new president, there's a new GM, there's new everything going on. I hope they get bigger. I hope they get tougher. I hope they get faster. And most importantly, I hope they find a goalie that's worth a single fuck. But I am legitimately bummed that hockey season's over because I was really getting into it. And NHL playoffs are the best thing.
I have just been starting to like really get into it as well because it is tough with some of the times around. But I mean, I'm in the same boat as you. I was loving watching the Penguins, and then last night, I mean, the Golden Knights. I should have known Minnesota Wild come out wearing the green tarps. They're just no shot. So
what happened to Stoner?
Well, Stoner's still hot. Stoner's hot. Maff last night, not so much.
Whoa.
Hey, let's talk about Sorkin, the Islanders goalie. You can win a Stanley Cup with one hot goalie.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, no matter what the rest of the team is. Okay, the team can be the most talented team. Like, for instance, the Bruins team flies. They fly around, and Tuukka's unbelievable and everything like that. But if you face a goalie that is just 4 times, if this goalie, for instance, if Sorkin can remain hot for 10 more games or whatever, they're going to win. They could win the New York Islanders could win the Stanley Cup because of how good that dude is.
Yeah. You still got to score some goals. And, to their credit, the Isles answered every time they had to. But we saw what they were shooting against.
Yeah, and they do have Tuukka on the other side.
Well, and letting in 3 goals like last night, that ain't going to get it done against the Bees. They'll win.
Yeah, but Tuukka's one of those goalies, by the way, who could potentially just win. Maff was one of those goalies for us, and I think for a bit there for you guys.
He still kind of is. I mean, he played like shit last night. But
if that's the thing. I said he was a liability game 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
You knew.
Game 1, I walk into That's Hockey Talk, our podcast here, and I go, hey, what is this guy? I had never heard of him. Nick was like, oh, he's been on the roster. They built him up. He was on the baby pens out there in Altoona. It's like, all right, Brian. Okay. All right. I get the baby pens. All right. What is he? Why is he flopping around on the fucking ice? What is it? What is he doing? What? He's got to get in there. He's local. Next game, same thing. It's like, who is this guy? This is the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is hockey time.
Was.
You're right at this point. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're still. We're still in the playoffs, obviously, but we get bounced by the Islanders twice in the first round, and then last year, obviously, walked in 4 straight games. It's just at this point, we obviously are better than Detroit would ever be.
Of course,
sure.
And that is something that we shouldn't be proud of, though. At this point, You know what I mean? And it does feel like the Pittsburgh Penguins are falling completely out of relevancy when it comes to the Lord Stanley conversation. And I don't like it, but there's going to be a new team next year. Yeah. Don't you worry about that. Sid's going to have somebody that's going to chop off heads if he gets hit the way he's been hit by the Islanders.
Well, they're a good franchise. I mean, it's not like it's the Pirates. Like, they're going to, they're going to do what they need to do to respond and make another run at Lord Stanley's Cup next year. You would think.
It sounds like you're thinking that the Golden Knights got no chance either. It seems like the only thing we have is potentially the Bruins.
No, I mean, I still think the Golden Knights are going to get the job done. Like I said, when T-Mobile Arena is rocking, I mean, it's tough to win there. But, I haven't watched the Avalanche at all. A lot of people are saying, hey, the Avalanche are actually really good. So, you should maybe look into that a little bit before you're spouting off on the
but we don't
Knights.
do any of that.
No. Of course not.
I
I figured.
That's not our go-to.
No, absolutely not. I figured we'd get the job done last night. We'd have a couple days to kind of recollect ourselves. Hey, we're going 7. I just don't know how that bodes, for the rest of the playoffs.
That's Ty Schmidt, who's been a Vegas Golden Knights fan since the Vegas Golden Knights inception.
Yeah.
And we're a big nameless, faceless opponent show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Okay, if our show's teams play the best they could possibly play, it doesn't matter who we're playing against. Nope. We're a big nameless, faceless. We don't care. Arms and legs. That's all it is. It's not an actual. So whenever people say we haven't done enough research, you're right. You know why? We don't have to.
I test. Hey, if my team's going out there and performing, we're going to be just fine. We're winning.
All right, so rest in peace to hockey. I hope you guys win. One of you guys.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
We won't talk about it, but I hope one of you guys win.
No way. We'll try and shoehorn it in when the Beasts do lift the Stanley Cup, but until then, good season.
I mean, they've just been chilling too. And then at the end, during the handshake, customary, legendary, handshake at the end of the series there, Pierre Maguire or whatever was like, the number 1 seeded Penguins out in the first round. I was like, we were, weren't we? We were a number 1 team. This is not one we're supposed to lose. And the Bees have just been sitting back in Boston, chilling, waiting for a week at this point.
Feasting, resting, getting ready.
It's a shame that hockey season's over, but let's get back to what we know, football. Julio Jones, okay? June 1st is coming, and that is where in the contract it saves, I think, the Atlanta Falcons like $15 million next year or something like that if it's a post-June 1 trade. Now, to be clear, we have learned that nothing means anything when it comes to these NFL contracts at this point. They could trade him yesterday and deem it as a post-June 1 designation, and that's just kind of how the whole game works. And that's been exposed, I think, through this post-quarantine lack of funds era where everybody's just making contracts that mean nothing, kicking money down the road. Guarantees are here, guarantees are there. Pre-June 1, post-June 1. We'll do it now. We'll deem it post-June 1. Nothing means anything. But by the way, that's business. You can have a contract and then you can go to the table and kind of renegotiate things. And if both sides are happy, that's really all that matters in the whole business thing. You are exactly what people deem your worth to be in the business world. And right now, allegedly, Julio Jones will be traded. And this is what we have said since the beginning, because we have seen situations like this in the past where we automatically assume that it's going to be this high ransom to get this player on the team. Now, Matthew Stafford, okay, that was a huge trade, massive trade. A lot of things got traded. This has happened for quarterbacks in the past. I remember RG3 got picked up by the Washington football team, and they traded I think 4 number 1s to the St. Louis Rams that became the LA Rams. I mean, there's been massive moves that have been made, but more often than not, it feels like it's skill positions. Guys get moved for far less than what you're expecting. Now, everybody's saying that it was going to be a first round to get Julio Jones, and that was allegedly what was being reported before the draft. The Atlanta Falcons were like, hey, you want Julio, it's going to have to be a first-round pick. It's going to have to be a first-round pick. Allegedly, nobody bid. Now there's mixed reports on whether or not it's a future first has been offered or if they're just contemplating that. But Jeff Darlington on Get Up yesterday said that you're probably looking at like a second or a third-round pick at this point. A second or a third-round pick. You know who was a second-round pick? Somebody that I think could be great or whatever?
Yeah.
Kyle Trask was a second-round pick to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After drafting Kyle Trask, they signed Blaine Gabbert for another year contract. They still have Tom Brady for 2 years. They're just hoping that Kyle Trask works. A second-round pick, although very high draft pick, very important piece of, in the general manager's mind going forward, going to have a lot of chances because this is a high investment. A second-round pick, though, has failed a lot in the past. A third-round pick has failed a lot in the. I'm not saying Kyle Trask will fail. I'm just saying, look, Kyle Trask was drafted in the second round. They have Tom Brady and Blaine Gabbert. And Bruce Arians said Blaine Gabbert's the most underrated player in the NFL. So it's like they're getting second-round. People are still using second-round picks as like potential backups. Like, hey, we need security at a position. We need potential whatever. Julio Jones is not security. Julio Jones comes in second-round pick and is a guy for your team immediately. He's 32. Okay. And even to the haters that are saying, oh, he's only got a year or two left. It's like, cool. I don't care. If I get Julio Jones for 1 year at Julio Jones and it's only going to cost me a second or third-round pick, fucking good news. Because that third-round pick I draft could be great. Hey, there's been great players drafted in the third round. There is a lot more that have been absolutely dog shit and have never made it in the NFL. I don't understand how this works, why this works, but I guess this is why GMs are GMs and I'm not a GM. But how do you not pull the trigger on this immediately if it's a third round pick to get Julio Jones? What am I missing? Is it the $15 million? But we've learned that the $15 million guaranteed that he's owed next year and then the $2 million he's owed the year after that. Can they not restructure that and just kick that down the road like every other team has done in the salary cap that has been strapped out? What is the problem? I don't think I fully understand it. Ty, your thoughts?
Well, I don't know either because we were talking yesterday, and I feel like like very recently, like his injury history has really been like brought up. But then I think Diggs looked at it and he was like, he really hasn't missed that much time. Like he missed a bunch of games last year, but like before that, like he's been healthy. So I don't know if it's just like, I mean, everyone overvalues draft picks so much.
Why do they? Because because you're a fan, I guess, and you've seen like, hey, we drafted Aaron Rodgers in the first round. It's like, okay, you
Fair.
did. Yeah, that's a really good call. Hey, we drafted another success story in the first round. Remember the guys you love those first rounders? It's like, okay, let's go back though. Let's look at all the first rounders that have kind of, fizzled out, or second rounders that have fizzled out because only the bangers survive. And you just move along and don't even think about that. But there is a long list of people that everybody thought was going to change franchises that were drafted high, first round, second round, third round, and they did not. And that is, I think maybe, I look at it differently because of how many young players I've seen come into a locker room and be awesome and like, oh my God, the highlights are incredible from college, and then for whatever reason just can't make it. The transition is not an easy one. It's not just something that everybody can work, whether it's physically, mentally, maybe it's the financial situation. As soon as you get a little money in your pocket, you change. But there's a lot of things that can go wrong. If you can get a proven guy,
Yes.
why not? And that is just how I would do it. It's how Tampa's doing it. It's how Kansas City's doing it. It's how a lot of these teams are just building. It's like, hey, why are we rolling the dice on what could be when we have we know what is? I just don't fully understand it.
Well, and to your point about getting cheaper, maybe that is it. It's like, he's 32. He comes with this. If we can draft a guy who's 21 who's going to be cheap. But, like, not only is he like a guy, like he's a surefire, like, first ballot Hall of Famer. If he still has a couple years left in the tank, like, you go get this guy.
Run that A.J. Brown video. A.J. Brown of the Tennessee Titans put together a TikTok. And A.J. Brown, by the way, wears the number 11, I think, because of Julio.
Yep.
He made you'll let him say, listen to how this guy, and this is not just A.J. Brown, by the way. This is basically every receiver in the NFL and every corner in the NFL says this type of thing about Julio Jones at 32 still, yes.
I haven't even been released yet. Okay, I'm going to sell you on some things right here. Listen to me closely. You have Tannehill, Mr. Finger Roll himself, every time. Eric Hill, listen, he does what he needs to be done. Like, he's a leader. He's a great passer. He's it. Anyway, next. Him, behind me, superhuman. We don't even have to discuss him. He speaks for himself. Look how mean he look in the picture. Like, okay. Then me, I'm up and coming. Pro Bowl, year 2. Not a big deal. Kind of a big deal, but not really. Okay, scratch that. Anyway, whatever. You, the GOAT of our era. Of our receivers. Help me, help you. Come home, Julio. Come home.
See, the first time I listened to that, I didn't hear him say who at the beginning. I thought he was calling Julio Leo. Like, that was his nickname.
Oh.
And I was like, yo, that's a dope nickname.
Fine.
Like, imagine if Julio's nickname was Leo, but he did say Julio there. I just heard it because it was a little bit louder in my ear there. I thought he was like, come home, Leo. And I was like,
That's
great
awesome.
nickname.
Wow.
That's his nickname. Yeah. But anyways, this is how A.J. Brown's speaking about him. You heard T.Y. in Q&A on Twitter. Hey, outside of Colts receivers, who's the best receiver? Julio Jones. Mm-hmm. You hear cornerbacks and safeties. Like, hey, what wide receiver do you not like going aside from Julio? Everybody says that. If it's an aside guy, okay, I think he's worth a third rounder. I think that's what Bill traded for Randy. Like a fourth rounder, a third rounder. Let's just assume if it's an aside, back in the day, aside from Randy Moss, people would say whatever. Let's get him in the building. Chris Ballard, listen. Tennessee is in a full court press right now from the teams trying to recruit Julio and get him in there. Diana Rossini, who we do know has these sources, she said that Atlanta and Tennessee have discussed Julio, but that's not something that is necessarily happening around the corner, but it has happened. I'm very fascinated to see how it plays out. Let's transition away from Julio, who we will have to talk more about later because there's really nothing going on in the world. So we will talk about Julio. Excited to get, we have Peter Schrager joining us.
Okay.
We have AJ Hawk joining us.
Wow.
Maybe one or two other potentials that are going to text and say, hey, I'll come on or not. But joining us now is the insider that is going to be the insider for the NBA for all of us for the next 60 years.
Yep.
The young, the handsome. A man who writes for The Athletic and works for the Stadium and is also man who's breaking information about the NBA left and right and the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, Sham Charania. Sham, what's up?
Yo, Pat, I'm just trying to keep up with you, man. After yesterday's big Adam Vinatieri bomb, I'm just trying to make sure that you're not creeping up on my job, and that we're good. We might have, I don't know. Are we good, Pat?
Yeah, Sean, hey, Shams, we're good, okay? And if I get any other news like that, I'll send it your way. But I don't know if I work like most insiders, because if you watch that video back, whenever he let off, he was like, "Is this what you want me to do?" I'm like, "No. I actually don't want you to do this. This puts a lot of pressure on me now, because now I'm gonna have to deal with the proper crediting. Pat McAfee Show.
Oh, yeah.
Now I have to deal with the proper sourcing. Hey, who's not giving us credit? I have to act like I'm mad. I'm not. Who cares? It's Vinatieri." But it's crazy in that insider world. I assume you ruffle some feathers on a daily basis. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a part of it, right? And sometimes people don't understand the behind the scenes of what actually occurs, and how information is shared, emanated, and sometimes parties that you don't assume give you information, but the outside public doesn't understand that. So it's just, at the end of the day, if you're doing your job, keeping your head down, treating people the right way, being honest, being trustworthy, to me, that's all that matters. I let the Twitter smoke be the Twitter smoke. I just stick to my work. But Pat, yesterday was impressive, man. I just had to say that.
Thank you. It was a big news break. I mean, it was everywhere. And I think we all kind of assumed he was, And I actually got to talk to Vinatieri during the schedule release shoot for the Colts. And I was like, "Are you retired or what?" And he was like, "Yeah, what the fuck do I got to do? Like, what do these people want me to do?" I was like, "To be honest, I just think you have to say you're officially retired." He was like, "I guess I'll do it someday. I don't know." I was like, "Or you kick when you're 50. That'd be cool." And he was like, "Man, that would be cool. But you can come out of retirement and kick when you're 52. He's like, "Man, true. Yeah, so it's like in the NFL, there's no formal way to go about doing it. I don't think there ever has been officially, but the media and fans expect a formal way. But I don't think the NFL actually does. The NFL doesn't have a full process of this whole thing. But it's a Hall of Famer, so I guess it is a big deal. Thank you for the compliment. I mean, I'm the biggest insider in the game right now.
Yeah, no question.
I don't know. I'm a Hall of Fame insider. You know what I mean? That is just what I got going on. Shams, let's talk about some news that you broke. And you said something pretty interesting there. You said sometimes it's people you'd never assume giving us information. You don't have to elaborate on that. Is that owners? Just real quick. Are you talking about owners potentially giving you information?
It could be anywhere, Pat. I don't want to just single one out, but listen, let's just say I try to have people everywhere in all corners.
That's crazy to me. Imagine and I don't know, imagine Jim Irsay texting some of these insiders.
Yeah.
Brother, we aren't. That would be amazing. Let's talk about some news you broke this morning. Due to a popcorn toss from a fan in Philadelphia, which, by the way, I think that's maybe the least aggressive thing I've ever heard a Philadelphia fan do, okay? Popcorn and that whole thing. But obviously, Russell Westbrook is a guy who gets targeted a lot by opponents' fans. It was after a loss. There was almost a fight. That guy's banned forever. How did they find out who it is? Because I saw everybody in the video pointing at the guy. A lot of snitches in Philadelphia, by the way, as soon as I saw that. And how immediately does that happen? Does that happen soon afterwards? Do they call Russell Westbrook? What's the whole process behind this thing?
So there was an investigation right after the game that started, and the Sixers were able to find the fan that threw the popcorn. The fan was ejected, and like you said, everyone in that neighborhood of that audience, that section of the audience, they all pointed to the person that threw the popcorn. I'm told it was a guy, and so once that is done, they have a formal investigation. The NBA is still going through their investigation. The NBA's had moments where they've banned people for life, and I think there is a sense that might be coming for this fan. But as of right now, he is banned from the Wells Fargo Center, the Sixers home arena, indefinitely. His season ticket was revoked. So, I mean, the Sixers came down hard after their investigation. There's still an NBA investigation ongoing as well.
Yeah, and I think some people, they get a ticket into an arena and they automatically in a stadium, and they assume it as as a golden ticket to do whatever the hell they want. And Russell Westbrook alluded to that. If that guy saw me in the streets, he would never do that in a million years. I got to see it. People would say things to Robert Mathis. We'd be in a way. People would be saying things to Robert Mathis, and I've literally turned around to people and been like, "Hey, when you were out tailgating earlier, he was warming up trying to hurt people. I don't know why you think because you're 7 yards away, you can just say, hey, you're a bum or whatever. But I like that in sports. I like I don't know. I guess there is a line, like throwing popcorn on somebody is definitely in 2021 too far. But I hope we don't, take away the intense environment. Like, for instance, what's going to happen to that dude that spit on Trae Young last night over 50 Cent? I mean, that's on video. Trae Young handled it in like, hey, 50, you cool with this or whatever? Yeah. And you see the spit. It took me like 10 times watching to find the spit.
I still don't know who it is, and I assume the Knicks are going to use cameras in the arena to find out which fan threw it. But like, I saw the video, like you said, 10, 12, 15 times. Then I finally saw that little particle spit out. It reminded me a lot of when Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul got into it a couple years ago, and you saw the spit come out of Rajon Rondo's mouth in the video. And Twitter and social media universe found it. But even that fan, I'm sure there's an investigation going into that situation. But you're right, Pat. Like, I think we've seen fans are starting to get back in the arenas, and the NBA audience is so intimate with the players. You see the courtside fans all wearing masks, all basically within feet of the players. And this is after a year of fully no fans, no interactions among fans. So I think there is a little bit of, I think the temperature levels are high right now among fans. Players as fans are congregating back into arenas. When you're looking at arenas like the Knicks, MSG last night had upwards of 15,000, 16,000 people at that game. Like, that's a lot of people to just go with a snap of a finger, when a year ago we weren't even playing with fans. So I know in talking to players, there is an adjustment going on right now.
I could imagine. Yeah, and also, by the way, with the benches used to be all spread out. They're going to have to get packed back in with the fans in there. It's going to be, a full readjustment back into life, into society here. And for fans going to places, I can't harp this enough. I did this with the Padres, Rocky situation. Like, hey, I understand you were in the confines of your house for a long time. As we get back into public, you can catch a right hand right to the mouth too. I mean, it's been happening in the arenas. It's been happening in the stands. It's been happening in all the sports. I can't even imagine what's going to happen when the NFL fans get back in there after the pent up in the house for 13 months, 14 months. But that New York Knicks environment, man, is awesome. I mean, Trae Young got really fucking quiet in here or whatever, like that whole thing. The NBA is better when the Knicks are good, right? I mean, that is just better for everybody. I'm watching Knicks games because of the fans, environments like that, but the Nets are about to win, 4 straight championships? Do the Knicks even matter at this point, Shams?
No, I mean, we'll see how the Nets do. Like, I'm really looking forward to this second round potential series. Nets-Milwaukee. I really think if there's a team in the Eastern Conference that can beat the Nets, we saw late in the year, the Bucks really matched up well with Brooklyn, and they were able to play their guys, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. They have defenders for these guys. They have Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Drew Holiday now that can defend the big three, and I think that's something that just was not there last year.
Shams, nobody can defend. Nobody can defend James Harden. Okay, the guy, nobody can defend him. Nobody can defend Kyrie.
I agree, but if you're looking at 3 guys that can actually make it difficult for those 3, I don't think there's 3 defenders in the league that can match up with those 3 guys. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you're not. I don't watch enough basketball to say that, but I am very much hey, if this team plays the best they can play, nobody can stop them. That's what the Nets are right now, right? In with the Knicks, it's interesting because the Nets couldn't sell out their arena, I guess, the Barclays Center. They had tickets up for sale. They couldn't sell it out. And with the Knicks, you're saying like 15,000 people, that environment. I assumed, and I was very wrong, and I've been told by a lot of people from New York City how wrong I was. I'm like, hey, you guys, you got a team in New York and Brooklyn over there. They're good. Like, they're trying to win it all. The Knicks were supposed to win 20 games this year. They get into playoffs. They go crazy. That Knicks fan base, they're not just going to hop over the Nets, are they? That would be what I would do probably if I was there. But I guess they're not going to do that at all, huh?
No, I think there's an investment here now, and I think, Pat, you're only going to see it grow. I think you're only going to see the Knicks fandom grow in New York. You saw the arena last night. Like, awesome. I was watching the game. I got a call from another team exec, and they're like, COVID what? Because those fans were packed really closely. I don't know if they had, vaccination cards they had to use to get in or what, but that arena, but again, it's lively. That's the atmosphere that the NBA's wanted to get back to. I think we as a society have all wanted to get back to that. So I think the fandom in New York is only going to grow, and if they can somehow make this a series, somehow get by Atlanta in this first round, I think the desire for Knicks fans to want to even get better than this and go out and go get a star player around the league, I think, multiple star players, I think the urgency will only grow.
Zion, get him out of New Orleans. You can't say that. I can say that. Or just bring everybody to New Orleans to help that guy get into the playoffs. He needs to at least be in the play-in game. We are talking to Shams Charania, senior lead NBA insider at the Athletic in Stadium. Shams, let's talk about the West. LeBron James and Anthony Davis, game one, seemed disinterested. He remembered it was playoffs. They tried hard. They're not going to lose again to Phoenix. It looks, what's going on with the Clippers? Looks like they're dead. Are they going to have to blow that whole thing up just, 1 year after building that whole thing up from the ground and stealing Kawhi from Canada? I mean, what's going on in the West, and are you expecting the Lakers to continue to dominate?
I think the Lakers are in a great spot now, and if Chris Paul doesn't turn the corner with this shoulder injury, which I'm told is increasingly bothering him after he suffered the injury over the weekend. I mean, I just don't see how Phoenix has a real.
Did he hurt his shoulder trying to break LeBron's arm?
I don't think that's where he hurt it, but he hurt it before. I don't know if that aggravated it or what. But
okay, yeah.
When he hurt it, it looked bad, and then he comes back into the game and he's played through it. You got to give him credit. He's competing. But if he can't play like the Chris Paul we saw in the regular season, the Chris Paul that I voted in my top 5 in MVP voting as a voter, I just don't see how this team is going to have
you got to vote
in this series. So that part of it makes it tough. So I do think the Lakers should be in good position here. As far as the Clippers, I still feel like they have a legitimate chance in this series. They'll play 2 in Dallas. I mean, I don't see why they can't win both of those games, or at least take one of those games and make it a series going back to LA. But there's no question, this is not where this team was supposed to be. I don't know how much you can blame Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Both those guys are playing at a high level. Kawhi Leonard just put up a 40-piece. Paul George even played well the other night. And they still lost in game 2. The supporting cast just is not there. So I think Steve Ballmer, you saw he's not one for patience. And so if this team doesn't turn the corner, what do they do? Who do they point the finger at? And you have to look at the supporting cast, I think.
You just said something there interesting, kind of a shot at Paul George. Paul George even played good. Has he not played good? He was the guy here in Indiana. Hey, he was the guy here in Indiana. Then he goes to Oklahoma City. That whole thing happens now. He's at LA with Kawhi. What is the narrative about Paul George? I love Paul George.
I said that because I think, you go on social media, everyone likes to pile on Paul George. But I think when you look back, you look at the numbers, you look at him play, he's played at a high level all season. And even so far in these playoffs, I mean, game 2, he was probably one of the top 3, underneath Luka and Kawhi. He was right there. He did his job. But, are those 2 guys doing enough around making teammates better? I think those are all going to be questions that this Clippers team is going to have to deal with. But that's why you went out and got a guy like Rajon Rondo to make players better and play make and pass. And maybe they have to go to him more for 30, 35 minutes a night. I think, which rotations they go with will be very curious.
Yeah, get Rondo. And just like Derrick Rose, 32 years of age or whatever, playing last night. And
39 minutes.
His interview, by the way, afterwards was I've always been a big D Rose fan. Like, I always felt like he got unlucky with either injuries or whatever happened. And he always seemed to keep to himself. Like, it was always very quiet. Then some allegations came out, and it was just like he stayed quiet then, too. He's like, no, this ain't the case. And everybody kind of went to bat for him. And I think any player that has everybody else go to bat for them, like, I'm immediately going to be like, oh, I like that guy. And I remember Derrick Rose just being such a nasty player back in the day. And then when he went to Chicago, kind of disappeared a little bit, probably because, the Bulls are just aside from Benny the Bull or whatever,
right.
It really isn't much to talk about up there. But he's back. Derrick Rose is all the way back. I loved watching that. I think the NBA's got some good storylines. Hopefully it'll continue to grow here as playoffs go. The big one that I would like to ask you here before, I think Connor has a question. Adam Silver, just no spine with LeBron James.
Yeah.
This guy is out there. Don't smile. Hey. Don't smile.
I'm just letting you finish.
Yeah, don't smile, Shams. Hey, you don't need to burn any bridges, okay? I got no bridges to walk through in this particular one. But Adam Silver, if that was any other player, dancing around with Mr. Loverboy himself, Drake, slinging tequila, no mask, laughing, having the time of their life. If that was any other player. Now, any other player isn't LeBron James, and any other player isn't what the entire league has basically been built upon after the last 15 years. Now, any other player is also not just like going to go down as the greatest of all time. Now, obviously, there'll be conversation about Michael Jordan, but is Adam Silver maybe, has he had to come out and talk about his decision to not fine or punish LeBron James? And did that message say, if you end up being LeBron James for us, we'll treat you the same way? Is that how that was handled, or is it all kind of understood?
I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing because you're funny, Pat.
Yeah, Shams, go ahead.
The NBA spokesman, I did speak to the NBA spokesman, Mike Bass, and the message that I was delivered was that each case is handled differently. And I've seen it just reporting every single case. Not each one is like the other, right? So in LeBron's case, he was at an event outside, outdoors, where people were either vaccinated or registered a negative test prior to entry. And it's a difference between what Kristaps Porzingis was, when he got fined $50,000. Kristaps Porzingis was at a nightclub, a strip club, no masks. And there was no vaccine. Kristaps Porzingis is vaccinated, I'm told, but there was no vaccination mandate, no test mandate upon arrival for obviously other guests in that vicinity. So that's where the clear distinction was. Now, Kristaps Porzingis, he didn't have to do a quarantine. So in some ways, he is lucky. It is a slap in the wrist with the $50,000. But we saw Pat in the bubble. Lou Williams went to a strip club, a nightclub,
lemon pepper
for some wings, for some lemon pepper wings on a normal day off when he went back home to Atlanta, and he was popped for 10 days of quarantine. And so there's a major difference. I think, now we're outside the bubble. People are vaccinated. People are being able to get tested. So there's a difference. I think in this situation, LeBron was in an environment where it was 1, outdoors, 2, either everyone was vaccinated, or 3, tested. And I think that's what the difference was between just going into a club maskless in an environment where, again, you don't know.
And he's LeBron James. Yeah. So you said each situation is handled differently. So situations are situational. Be who you can afford to be. Mm-hmm. He's LeBron James. So anybody that thought he was going to get suspended for the playoffs, you live in a world that I enjoy. I think it's probably a pretty cool place that you live, but it's not reality. All right, that's just how this whole thing goes. I've had those lemon pepper wings. I'm sure you have as well, Shams. You don't want to say that publicly. They are so good down there. What do you have, Connor?
Yeah, Shams, I saw you tweet about 2 top 5 recruits in high school that are joining the overtime league, and then obviously now the G League can pay recruits. Is college basketball completely dead because this is what the top recruits are going to be doing now?
I don't know if it's completely dead, but I do think that, I think I just got a text I want to read.
Whoa.
Go ahead. Direction. I do think that college basketball in a place where I think players do want to go there. You saw Jalen Green. I think he made some notable comments after his season in the G League. He said that, when you look at some of these college players like Cade Cunningham, get the hype that they're getting, that's because of their college environment, and they're playing these games nationally televised, playing against competition that other people around the country know. Yeah. So I don't think it's dead. I think it's just an alternative route that these players can go if they want to get paid immediately.
Shams, you and I both, we're living in the future, okay? It's dead. That league will become notable. It'll become a big deal. These juniors, stop laughing. These twins, they're probably going to make $1 million. Come
on.
These guys are probably
I can't confirm. Their salaries are over $1 million. Scoot Henderson, player with
16 years old, 17 years old.
Reported $1 million contract. So you got 3 players getting millions of dollars now, just off of basically doing deals. Professionally, not going to college. So between them, I think that's $3 million. They just signed 2 more twins. Those players got lucrative contracts as well. But
yeah, you're right. It's not that. You're right. You know what? People are going to want to see, Calipari and Coach K go at it.
That's
right. Yeah, people are going to want to see the old
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the players, they're going to stare down that $1 million and potential shoe offers on top of that, by the way. And they're going to go, no. I won't go play at North Carolina. I don't know if that's going to happen. You and I both know it, but I do respect the fact that you respect basketball and tradition. Shams, you're the absolute best, man. We can't thank you enough for stopping by every single time.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Have a good one.
What was the text?
Oh, what was the text? We'll talk about it soon. I'll send it to you.
My gosh.
Okay.
I wonder what it's going to be. Hey, college basketball is dead.
Yeah,
hey,
so dead.
Listen, it's like Florida, okay? Heaven's waiting room. Mm-hmm. That's what college basketball is right now.
That's right.
And I will still watch, by the way. I will still watch.
Yeah, March Madness is awesome.
You kidding me?
Awesome. But I also will potentially turn over to the 16 and 17-year-olds dunking from the foul line, getting paid $1 million before shoe deals to watch that as well. That'll probably be a weekend. There'll probably be like March Madness, like AAU, like tournaments.
DJ.
No holding. I hope they got an and one guy on there. We have to get to a break now. We're back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
Should we just make it real? Should we just say, hey, we're done, we're riding off into the sunset? I mean, do you want it to be live on your show that Vinny's officially done? Is that what you want?
I don't want that, but if it's going to happen, happy it's happening.
Yeah.
I would like that to be known. So don't feel obligated. Don't feel forced.
Put it this way. Hey, let me see. Today is Wednesday. By Friday, if paperwork goes in, you heard it here first.
First of all, congratulations on a legendary fucking career, dude. In a game that revolves around the score, okay? That's how they pick winners and losers, is in a game in which they keep score. To be the all-time leading scorer in scoring sport, I think many would say, hell of a fucking job. Yeah. Unbelievable. South Dakota kid, you didn't have an easy way either. You went over to Virginia to train. You're a high school teacher, I think, or a substitute teacher. Then you go to the World League over in Amsterdam. Somehow survived the off-the-field activities that you could have fallen into. Stayed focused on kicking. Go into New England. Beat out Matt Barr at some point, even though he had an incredible career. Win Super Bowls. Memorable moments. Biggest moments in the sports history revolve around your foot in a lot of cases. Congratulations, man. You're the fucking best. I was honored to be your teammate. Yeah. What's the most beer you did in one night you think of one of those shows?
Well, I never forget when we went to Japan one time. Dudley, Stacy Keebler. I mean, there were so many people out there. I think we went through 103 or 108. Now, between just for myself, I'd always make sure to have about a 12 or 18 pack there. And, here's the thing when some people say, oh, shit, man, you got too much of that beer on, you don't even know how to drink beer. It's like, dude, fuck you. You don't know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to entertain 20,000 people in an arena. If I just go out there and sip it real properly, how fucking exciting is that? So when you're out there on an empty belly and you're shotgunning beers and all that shit's going in, the half that was going in was for me. The half that was going on was for them. Nice. But I'm telling you, Pat, when you shotgun a bunch of beers like that and you're drinking about half of each beer, you got a pretty damn good buzz when you come out. And that's a sacrifice I was willing to make every single night.
I would assume you were pretty fucked up, yeah. When did you start self-cheersing? When did you start self-cheersing? Was that something you did in college? You're like, hey, Steve, good for me, man. When did that start?
No, you know what? I got to give credit to Sandman for starting that, but he was bashing him off his head, and I don't remember, and it wasn't because Sandman was doing it, so I don't want to say I copied him, but he was the first. So, and then my style was, because people always get us confused. They'll say, yeah, man, you used to bang them on your head. No, motherfucker, I was the guy that clacked them together. It was just something we came up with. I don't know how the beers got introduced to the ring, but it became a thing, and we ran with it.
What do you think the plan is with Justin Fields in Chicago? I know we heard Andy Dalton was the starter and all this stuff. What do you think Fields plays from day one?
Fudge, yeah. And AJ, you play that joker from the first snap of the season. Now, I think the pressure 100% falls on Matt Nagy going, you know what? I failed Mitchell Trubisky.
Wow. Streams internationally. And the boys.
Welcome back to that show. A show, this show, the Pat McAfee Show.
Oh, yeah.
I just realized that the bumper thing that I did press play on did not play. That's probably my fault if I had to guess. Probably needs an update like everything else in this life. We got about 6 minutes left before hour 1 wraps up. In hour 2, we'll have Schrager joining us.
Go.
He has a new project. I think him and Sean McVay are talking in a recorded conversation. I believe.
Yeah.
He's coming on to chat about that. Can't wait to hear how that whole thing is going, and also all the other insider news like Julio Jones stuff, Aaron Rodgers stuff. He has answered in the match trash talk that has been taking place on social media. Tom Brady has been a dominant social media force since the day he decided to become a social media force. He has built up his company, he has built up brands, he has built up his following, and he's also accrued a lot of Super Bowls all at the same time. Shout out to Tom Brady. Phil Mickelson got involved, obviously. Brooks Koepka got involved. Bryson DeChambeau got involved. And to Ty's point, he played the hits.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there was a deflated joke in there. There was some other stuff going on. Aaron Rodgers got into the game last night.
Woo. Sure did.
Listen, Aaron's our guy.
Love him.
And I'm not a Star Wars guy. Noted.
True.
I don't know who edited that for him, but we need to go back to the drawing board, Aaron. Okay, Aaron, you're funny, you're clever, you're smart, all right? Aaron could, now he is in Hawaii, okay? He's a little bit, probably, his mind's in, he's singing, he's jumping off waterfalls and stuff like that. That Star Wars video, I'm not a Star Wars fan. Is there any Star Wars fans? Was that good? That was a good video. Seemed a little long. I lost track of who the characters were, too. Whenever I saw Phil and Tom die, I knew they were dead, but I didn't fully understand how, especially coming on the heels of Tom using the Brooks Bryson meme 3 in a row, and the last one saying, me, Tom Brady, making memes, and then it's Aaron and Bryson.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
genius.
Masterclass with social media.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that is just how Aaron then answered with a Star Wars video, which I think they are buying into like the nerd thing, him and Bryson. Bryson's a scientist, you know, he goes by the numbers. Aaron, like one of the smartest humans, maybe the smartest guy. No, can't say that because somebody was throwing some Harvard name that played, but probably top 5 smartest guy to ever play in the history of the NFL. Going to be the Jeopardy host if he wants to. That's where the nerd Super Bowl is. So they're buying into that. I didn't understand the Star Wars thing.
See, I assumed that he actually edited that video himself.
I assume he did.
Like real quick. You know,
I assume he
was
did.
getting ready to jump off like a waterfall or something. He's just like, hey, give me 10 seconds here. I need to get this out.
Miles.
Yeah, exactly. You go
Please.
first. Then I'll go. I don't know if he was really taking a shot. I mean, he put Phil's head on Jabba the Hutt, who is just a big-time fatso. So I don't know if, like... I don't know if...
So this is deeper.
It could be.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that was the intent, but,
So maybe I misread the whole thing.
you know, we'll see.
Aaron deserves a little bit more credit, maybe. Maybe this is second-tier shit talk.
It could be.
It was pretty good. I mean, the video was nice, but I mean, whether it was Aaron, whether it was Mytel, whoever made it needs to, you know, go back and hone in on their editing skills.
Just quicken that thing. You can have that type of, rudimentary editing, which, by the way, we've made a living off of.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we absolutely love it. Can't be that long, though, you know what I mean?
No.
Because then it starts, I just thought we should have been more. But once again, I am not a Star Wars guy, and I am thankful he got into the game because now we potentially have like a month of this where, I assume Phil and Tom are going to be on driving range together. I assume Aaron and Bryson, maybe Bryson has a place in Hawaii too. We don't know.
Could.
We don't know. Maybe they're doing a little something together. I'm excited for the match. Can't wait to see it. We have tried to get involved. Who knows if they'll let us or not. I think we should. It's a Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to be in the afternoon, I assume.
4 o'clock probably, right? Maybe before that.
The last ones I feel like start around 11, 12.
We should do like if we're not allowed to get on boots on the ground over there.
Sure.
Which I assume we're not going to be able to.
Well, hey.
No, I really assume we're not going to be able to.
Okay.
Okay. Just from the early reports, I've been looking at.
Okay.
Which
Is it a COVID thing or is it just like,
TNT?
hey, scram?
I know the conversations I have had with people who would know, they have told me this is going to be tough because of the amount of, Tom's there, Aaron's there.
Exclusivity.
Yeah, and the people that are going to be paying, I think the Capital One's going to be in there. I think they're going to be raising. I think it's going to be a pretty big spectacle in the middle of Montana. And we were just like, yeah, all good. Like, I understand, but I think we should do like a watch along at least with that. Have to, right? Then we'd be doing them. Doing a watch along for them.
But at the same.
But it could. I mean, hey, it could stink. I mean, there has
It's not
been
gonna stink.
times.
It's gonna be awesome.
But remember, they didn't really let the Brady and Manning really open up during that whole entire thing.
Yeah, that was COVID though. And,
kind of a bummer.
Yeah, and there was another match. Phil and Tiger, the original, was not great, right?
No.
Right.
That was not great. So I think this last one that was definitely much better.
Yeah, very entertaining. Granted, there was nothing else going on at the time, so it was we were all kind of just like waiting for it. But I think it exceeded everyone's expectations.
I think it's going to be good.
It's Raj and Brady.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And Phil. And
Bryson.
Golf ball whacker guy. Yeah. I do wish it was kind of, because Brooks is playing lefty against Portnoy. Portnoy has Ash DeChambeau.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, golf is drama. Hour 2 on the other side. If something happens one time, anomaly. Happens 2 times, it's like, oh, okay, maybe. But whenever there's a trend of 18 plus, 20 plus things being predicted, you got to go like, hey, Groening, the gig's up. We know. You're a time traveler.
Just tell us.
Bro, I just want to talk to you. I got so many questions. Siegfried and Roy tiger attack. Do you remember that?
Of course.
Do you remember back in the day how tight Siegfried and Roy were with their tigers? It was like every main story was like, oh, these tigers are the best behaved animals on earth, blah, blah, blah. Simpsons in 1993 said the tiger is going to turn. This little friendly tiger is going to become an enemy of Siegfried and Roy quickly, and it's going to happen. 2003, it actually happened. Autocorrect errors, 1994. Before you could even play Snake on the gray little box phone, they predicted that autocorrect will happen on your phone. Are you kidding me? Didn't happen until 2007. FaceTime, 1995. Not even a thought. I don't even know if anybody knew what the fuck the internet was.
Oh, that's
that little mark with the A and then the ring around it.
At?
See, that's what I said.
Mm-hmm. No,
what is internet anyway?
In 1995, they said, don't worry, you'll be carrying around a device where you will be face-to-face with somebody on the opposite side of Earth. 1995, they said that. 2010, it happened. Faulty voter machines. 2008, they predicted it. 2012, it became the forefront of conversation in a big, big way. I assume these voter machines have been up in question for a long, long time, but they just knew that it was going to come to fruition in 2012.
No, I want to vote for Obama.
2 votes for McCain.
Come on, it's time for a change.
3 votes for McCain.
The God particle. Now, this is the big one. Ty Schmidt did research. He said the God particle is the absolute reason why he is 1,000% a time traveler. Homer Simpson got up there like fucking Matt Damon in that movie where they have that
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting, and draws up this equation for what the God particle is, what is the God particle?
Yeah, it's basically this equation that essentially like explains how the universe was created.
And they did that in 1998, and the exact equation happens in 2012.
That's unheard of.
14 years ahead of time. They got Homer Simpson up there looking like that goddamn janitor from Harvard, solving equations up on a chalkboard, and 14 years later, it's like, yeah, that's actually how the universe was founded. It's like, wait a fucking minute, little comedy writer with a goddamn yellow cartoon, bro. That's insane. The NSA spying scandal. Everybody knew that the Patriot Act was like in existence, but nobody had a clue that NSA literally knows everything about you. Every dick you've sent has been seen by some government agency, but it wasn't always like that. We didn't know that everything was getting spied on, Sean. Nobody knew that.
I didn't know.
They predicted that in 2007, 2013 it happened.
No, Lisa, it's not like the government is listening to everybody's conversation.
Smartwatches, 1995, they said it would happen. 2014, they came to fruition. America's Ebola outbreak, 1997, they said it. 2014, do you remember when Ebola hit? It was literally
hospitals like shutting down.
Oh, they had people wearing like hazmat suits, carrying people around because they were scared Ebola was possible. In the modern world, this was happening. Years and years and years and years ago, Matt Groening said this is going to happen. The FIFA corruption scandal, 2014, they called it. 2015, it came all crashing down. Everybody knew they were getting their pockets greased, making decisions, sending a World Cup to a goddamn desert. Matt Groening said it's going to happen. It happened. Greece's debt default, 2012, they called it. 2015, it happened. So many countries out there, by the way.
They picked Greece?
The exact country to happen. Trump's presidency, 2000, they called it. 2016, it came to fruition. The Simpsons called this. President Trump out there, and everybody probably looked at, those Simpsons guys are so funny. Bang, 16 years later, it is about to happen. It goes down. Lady Gaga Super Bowl halftime show, 2012. They called it 2017. I mean, I think we all knew that she was born this way. She would probably get the halftime show at some point. But to the details that they had, these are not coincidences. Coincidenci. I don't know how you pronounce it.
How the fuck do they know this stuff? It's got to be time travel.
Matt Groening is a time travel. I have so many fucking questions. Disney's takeover of Fox, 1998. They said it. 2017, it happens. The Shard in London, which is a building behind Big Ben, I guess. Is that right?
Apparently, that's what Google search said.
1995, 2009, it comes to fruition. Robot Librarians, 95, they called it. 2016, it happens. The censorship of Michelangelo's David, 1990, 2016, it happened. Three-Eyed Fish from the fucking nuclear waste place.
In Japan.
Three-Eyed Fish comes to fruition in 2001. Matt Groening did it in 1990. 9/11. 9/11. They called that happening. If you do recall, planes going into buildings, they said it in 1997, 2001, it happens. The Syrian uprising, everything that's going on in the Middle East has all been talked about on The Simpsons. And then he created another show called Futurama. That is huge. He created another show like, yeah, listen, here's me rubbing it in the face that's where I could go if I have to. I have so many questions for Matt Groening, and guess what, Matt Groening? The gig's up. We know. I'm all in on you, Matt. And I'm a fan, by the way, aren't we? We're big fans. I'm a huge fan. If you want to travel to future me or current me or past me and say what's up, I think we would all be appreciated.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we could talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. Hour 2 on this Thursday, May 27th, 2021. We'll begin immediately following this beat drop from Twine. I think by next season we need a new.
Yeah.
I think it's time to officially do it.
Time is numbered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, because I do a lot of things and say a lot of words throughout the week. Too many, if you ask me. You know what I mean? Too many. And people have to listen to me for 3.5 hours every single day and then another 2 hours on Friday night. You got to remember, I'm with me all the time. You should see how sick of me I am, okay? Mm-hmm. There's too much of that. But another beat drop from Twine, like I am tired of hearing me say that. Because it is a great beat drop.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
And it's an incredible, it has had an amazing run, and we're very thankful for Twine.
Thank you, Twine.
But I think I'm sick of it. You know what I mean? And that's just...
Had almost a full year run.
That's unbelievable.
Long time.
We thought it was going to be, a couple months maybe, just because, but it's so good. We had, that thing has survived quite a turnover came in through a turnover.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot that has happened with that, but I'm tired of it. Joining us now is a man that I'll never get tired of because, boy, his brain is almost as big as his jawline. Ladies and gentlemen, college football national champion and Super Bowl champion, AJ Hawk. What up, AJ?
Oh, how you doing? I'm having a great day, Pat. Are you doing great?
We had a moment of silence. We're past it. Don't ask.
I gotta think what it was for.
You know.
Oh, your squad, man. I all of a sudden okay. Hey, one of my kids says, "Oh yeah, the Penguins are down 5-3," and last I saw it was 3-3, or they were up 3-2, I think. Last I checked, and so when they were down 5-3, I instantly thought of you. I was like, "Oh, someone's on suicide watch."
Well, and also when we were down 5-3, I mean, not that close, but not that heartbreaking, but I mean, definitely sad. We also take a double minor penalty. So we go down 5-3, and then we have to play down a man for the rest of the game, basically, for 4 minutes.
What was the penalty for again? I saw the end of it.
So it's a high stick, and if there's blood, So if there's high stake and there's blood, it's a double or whatever. And
that's a killer right there. When that happened, I was like, oh, so they lost. I saw it was a 4-minute penalty.
Yeah, and there was 4 minutes and like 30 seconds left in the game, or 4:50 or something like that. So yeah, it was tough, you know. And then for the last 50 seconds, we pull the goalie, and it's like, well, at this point, we need 2, and they're dancing with the puck already. Yeah. It was over long before that though. Sidney Crosby took a cross check to the back in front of the net because nobody else will go in front of the net. Okay, our best player will do it. I mean, I guess he's supposed to be like in the point almost, or in the corner, like making plays happen. But since nobody else will do it, fuck it, I'll do it. Okay, and I'll go in there and I'll get bodied and beat up, and nobody will protect me. Okay. Like Wayne Gretzky got protected, and everybody else you've ever heard of in the hockey Mount Rushmore, they had goons around them protecting them. People couldn't even come within 6 feet of them. Sidney Crosby's just been getting his ass beat because the team is small. It's a bunch of passes, not as tough. He's in front of the net though, third period. He gets his cross checked, and his body just goes completely lifeless, and his face is sideways on the ice, and there isn't even a fight. There isn't even a fight. Come on. And at that moment, I was like, we're dead. Blow it up. See you later. Can't have it. And I'm bummed about it because hockey season was fun, but it is over now. There also might be a winning season that's over. And is that for the Hammered Dahn boys? They have joined us in here, AJ. 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. YouTube.com/Hammered Dahn. That's DAHN. 2 guys and Mitt as executive producer take on the Daily Sportsbook. Whatever FanDuel has on there, they can pick from. And they are normally hot as hell, AJ. We're talking like 5-0, 4-1, 3-2 is bad days for these guys on Hammered Dahn live every day, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But last night, I guess you didn't win one fucking thing last night. What happened, boys?
I would normally feel attacked, but I will give you a break because your Pens lost last night.
Okay, all right. I'm not attacking you.
I did have 2 draws and 2 losses. It was not a good night.
Did you have a win?
In my defense. In my defense, before I gave out the picks, I said I fucking hate every single one of these.
Oh, okay, so you guys kind of felt it going into the game.
Too many big favorites.
I didn't say that. It was a big day for things going up in flames yesterday, Pat. It was a tough day. Couldn't hit a fucking bet. It's just how it goes sometimes, pal.
I'll tell you what, that winning record was something that you guys were right alongside of, okay? Holding hands almost with that winning record, okay? It was unbelievable. None of us believed it was possible. And none of us believed what you guys were doing was possible. Winner after winner after winner after winner in a business and a thing that literally nobody does. Nobody in the history of anything has consistently won, except for one guy, and he got thrown in jail because they thought he was insider trading somehow, okay? So it was unbelievable. And then, you know, that relationship with the winning streak just ended quickly, didn't it? Kind of turned on you guys.
It did.
Last night gave you no wins. Everything went up in flames. And it was almost dancing on your grave publicly because everybody knows your record, so they post that thing. They say, hey, these guys are absolutely burning down. Just kind of rubbing it in your faces. But you know what's going to happen? That winning record that was once what you thought it is not at all. It wasn't a real, it was a fugazi. Now you hit your low, you're about to climb back stronger than ever with a winning record that is 10 times, maybe 50 times better than that previous winning record that got burnt to flames. This next one you guys are about to go on is about to be unbelievable. Let's go. Let's go.
Rise like a phoenix from the ashes.
Bingo.
I'm sorry. Hey, Dick, so I just wondered, though, do you put them on like a plan? I know if you're a salesperson in a company and you don't hit your numbers, you get put on a plan, which means you'll be fired soon if you don't hit your numbers. So if they don't start turning this thing around,
AJ, do Billy and Mitt world,
get in the old batter's box and get ready to take over?
Oh, geez. Listen, okay, I am not going to fire these guys if they lose. All right?
No, just rotate them. They got to rotate out to different jobs.
Oh, so you think like, hey, the Hammered Dahn show hosts, like those are being...
That means like, hey, it is a very, very intense situation where if I lose, like I'm out of here. I got to rotate out and do someone else's gig.
Yeah, because we can only have whoever is hot on Hammered Dahn. Is that what you're saying? Is this should be like the Office heat check? Like, hey, who's the hottest? Okay, get off the show. Focus fully on gambling. You're now on Hammered Dahn every day. Is that what you're thinking we should do?
Maybe. I was more just thinking of, hey, you got to hit your numbers or you're out of there.
What's your deal,
that's
AJ?
That's a pretty good idea.
What's your deal, AJ?
I'm trying to help the show.
Are you? Doesn't sound like it.
AJ,
yes, because
I was 3-0 in basketball last night.
Oh!
Let's let Mitt host the show today.
No, whoa, okay, can't have that. We will have to have. Yeah, we know, Mitt. Please, thank you. Way to go, Mitt.
Some people were saying Foxy was one of the hottest bettors in the office.
No, he was too afraid to make a bet
3-0 in my last
night.
couple picks, and probably last 3 months, I'm undefeated, 100% hottest gambler on the show, but not a lot of people know that.
Well, the interesting thing there is AJ's thinking you should maybe be the host of Hammer Down. We will have to take that to the drawing board. I don't know if Foxy can. He's got to hit the vlog.
He also took the Pens to win the series and killed them.
No.
Oh, that's right.
I swear it all.
Pens for one day.
He also said Pens, minus 1.5.
All right.
No, I did not. Go check the tape.
Yeah, I will.
Check the tape.
Let's move along. Foxy, people did say that you killed the Steelers and then you killed the Penguins.
I don't know why people blame me for the Pens. I literally picked them that one game.
Shut
and
up,
guess
dude.
what? They won that fucking game. And then
Oh.
when I didn't pick them, they stunk.
Yeah, but when did you made that selection about 4:45? Game was at what time? The Penguins hadn't heard, and your thing hadn't made its way in there yet. You know what I mean? As soon as it made its way over there, guess what happened? Goalie forgets how to play goalie.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
It's tough.
Let's move along. Julio Jones is going to be traded, dude. This is going to happen for real. And they're saying it's a second or a third round, AJ. Your thoughts on that? Like, hey, why are we not sending 4 third rounders? Hey, you can take every third rounder this franchise has for the next 5 years, okay? We do not give a damn. Here you go. A little bit dramatic. I get it. But we have no idea if that third rounder is going to make the team. We have no clue. You know you're getting Julio. What is this real? And what are your thoughts on this, AJ?
I don't know if this is real, but didn't you? I don't know if this is old or debunked, but Diana Rossini said they have an offer for a first out there, right?
No, it was a future first, and they're discussing the several offers, including one. And we had this discussion in the office, actually. The way it was worded from Rossini, okay, you could read it from the standpoint of they have an offer on the table for a future first. Okay, the Atlanta Falcons have discussed several trade offers for Julio Jones, including an offer for a future first-round draft pick per sources. Now, are they discussing hypothetical trade offers where this is something that is, you know what I mean? Like, is this an actual offer that came? There's a sense around the league a trade could come down as early as next week. That's that June 1 date that we all knew was potentially going to happen. You know, like you could say this is a definite offer, but I went in with the mindset of like, are they discussing like what would we take, what we wouldn't take? You know what I mean? And I might be misreading that completely, and I can understand that. But if you got a future first at this point with Darlington saying it's maybe a second or a third, isn't that something you would want if you're playing the draft capital game? I don't know. I don't really fully understand the whole situation.
Well, none of us really know, I guess. I mean, I'm sure teams are wondering the same thing. Like if you're a GM and you're thinking of acquiring Julio, how do you reach out and kind of feel out, test the waters into, hey, like what's it going to take to get this guy? And if you have a good relationship with GM and people, maybe you can do that. Like, hey, just come on, man. Let's find a way to get this done. What are you guys looking for?
Hey, what would you give for Julio Jones to join you? AJ, I want you, AJ Hawk, all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, Super Bowl champion, has been in the locker room. How many years did you play?
11.
11 years in the amount of young players that were supposed to be franchise changers that have come into a locker room that AJ was in after 11 years and then immediately turned around and walked the fuck out, not doing a damn thing. Very, very high. What would you give up for Julio Jones?
Well, when I saw that they said it may take a second or third, I would do that instantly. Not even a question. You can have both. Take a second, take my third next year. See ya. And if hopefully I can fit his contract under the cap, whatever I have. If not, hopefully you can talk with him and his agent before the trade is done. Like, hey, we just need to restructure. You probably get the same. Maybe we'll move some to bonuses and all of that. Play the old cap gymnastics you have to. But second or third, easy. And if they said, hey, a first and a third, I'd probably do that too.
Yeah, me too. And by the way, if it was second and third this year and a third next year, take that too. Sure. I think most ex-players have the same thoughts as you and I. And I think it's strictly because of what our friends who thought they were going to lose their jobs because a young player was hyped up to come in and be whatever. And you know what happened? Old tried and true just stayed there and that person fizzled out. The amount of times that happens, it doesn't get talked about. It doesn't get talked about. Even if it's somebody that you know, doesn't really, it kind of fizzles out of the news cycle because there's so much other shit to talk about. I think people forget about how many times draft picks fail. And it is a lot. And that is, I think
the draft cycle does a great job of hyping up all these players. And these players deserve to be hyped up for what they've accomplished in high school and college and everything like that. But then there's not really much coverage afterwards of the guys that just absolutely stink, unless you're the biggest bust of all time you're talked about or potentially in the conversation. But if it's just like fizzled out, it's like, is that a win? If you could get Julio Jones on your team, is it somebody that just like played 3 years but kind of just fizzled out or whatever? Good player, good guy, not franchise changer like Julio potentially could be. I think a lot of ex-players view it like you and me, but man, I get a lot of tweets from fans and coaches that are like, well, you can't pay that for a 32-year-old. It's like, why?
Is that the only knock? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What's the only knock on Julio is he's 32, and they say he may have some durability issues, right?
Which Diggs, by the way, did some research. The durability issues, that's a fugazi.
Overblown. Yeah, also, he's also one of the toughest receivers, and he's very, very physical and a tone setter, too. That dude, when he catches the ball and runs through defenders, like the whole team is energized. Man.
Yeah, and he's not trying to, just survive. He's number 2 wide receiver in the history of the NFL for yards in the first 10 years, and he's number 1 in the NFL's history for average yards per game over a 10-year career or whatever. It's just, I don't understand where, like Chris Ballard, all right? He'll probably see this clip. I think he has family that potentially watches and neighbors that watch, and I assume a lot of people in the building that potentially watch are going to say, I have a lot of respect for Chris Ballard. A lot. After talking to him as a human,
Don't start it like this. This is like saying with all due respect. How are you gonna trash it?
I just want to make sure he knows while he's watching what I'm about to say that how I feel about him remains. Okay, that whole thing. But what is he doing? What is he doing? And I texted him the same thing, haven't gotten an answer, okay, numerous times. I've sent gifts over, I've sent texts over, I get no responses. Okay, this is the first time I've ever probably shown up in somebody's text messages like, hey, can we fucking,
Come on.
Can we,
what are we doing here?
What are we even doing here? And by the way, I think I've been very public with it, so if he stinks, I'm going to have to eat this wherever, just like I did with Cam. You know what I mean? That was kind of tough. But Julio Jones, get him in a Colts jersey yesterday. And by the way, I'm not the only person that is have rooting interest for a team that's saying that. There is mock jerseys of Julio Jones on every team right now, basically. Every team's like, yep, get him here, get him here. The Tennessee Titans, A.J. Brown, we ran it earlier, he made a TikTok about it. Like, hey, listen, it's just everybody seems to want Julio on their team, except for Atlanta, for whatever reason, contracts, I guess salary. And then every other GM at this point, Kyle Shanahan said, I'm not allowed to talk about other players. But we did have to give up a lot recently, but I'm not saying we're ever done, was his quote. So Shanahan, I guess they're potentially in on it. Shanahan was asked about potentially trading for Julio Jones, and he started by saying he can't talk about other teams. I'm not allowed to talk about what you're talking about there, but we're always interested in improving the team, but it makes it harder when you've already given up some stuff. But I would never say we're just done. So, Shanahan and Lynch are probably over there there's no way we can actually get. Can we get Julio? We gave up 3 first rounders. Fuck it. Give him 4 years from now and 5 years from now. If we get Julio Jones, let's go ahead. Is he still going to play 4 years from now? Probably. We'll laugh at that first round pick then whenever that whole thing happens, especially if we win a Super Bowl with him in this entire thing. I don't understand. Go ahead.
Might not even need the first rounders. Yeah. Hey, we traded all of our first rounders. They're not even asking for that. They're asking for a second and a third maybe. I don't know. Yeah, like you said, there's at least, you think 10 teams maybe who it's hey, if we can get Julio, we can get to the next level.
Why are we so out of touch, okay, here at the Pat McAfee Show? Why are we so potentially out of, shout out SportsCenter, ESPN, which then everybody else just copy and pasted. We learned a lot about the game yesterday, because I think this is the Pat McAfee Show.
It is.
Yeah.
So the quotes were
inaccurate.
But the first time you see the lowercase and then quotes Pat McAfee Show, I respect because that is my Twitter handle, but then you could have put but you didn't do that, which is a lot of people are mad, not me. That was very fascinating to see that people just copy and paste that on every headline. Yeah. It was typed out the exact same way. I'm like, was there a press release that we didn't? No, who put the press release? What is this whole thing? Awesome day yesterday. Shout out to Vinny. AJ, I'm sorry you just kind of had to sit there for a moment, but I appreciate you, obviously.
I'm good. He's awesome.
He is absolutely awesome. But why are we seemingly so out of touch with what like GMs are thinking apparently around why and some fans.
Hey, what's Lombardi say? What does Lombardi say about it? Have you heard?
I haven't heard. No.
But
I'd like to know Lombardi's take if he thinks like what he thinks Julio is worth.
I assume that Lombardi normally has. Now he has gotten some shit wrong, I guess, and that has been out there. But I feel like Lombardi normally has pretty sane takes. I'd assume he'd be like a second rounder, third. Get Julio on your team tomorrow. Yes, I think that's how he would feel. That's why I'm so confused that there's people out there that are saying don't do it. It makes no sense to me. I don't get it.
It's like when Tom Brady was available last year. All these teams, we don't want it. Like when a guy becomes available, all of a sudden teams don't want him anymore. Like it doesn't make sense.
Well, and I think there's a lot of egos, obviously, like who they draft, who they pick. Like this kind of gets forced on GMs. Maybe they feel like, I don't know. I have no idea why this is happening.
Well, that's why Ballard's interesting, just because he literally has consistently drafted dudes in the second and third round who have come in immediately and been very good.
He's very good.
He knows who he's drafting. So that's the only guy where it's like, okay, well, you can kind of understand it with him because in the second round he can find a Darius Leonard.
But he traded away the first rounder for DeForest Buckner.
Right.
And he actually said before that draft, when he was on our show or whatever, I said, what are you doing tonight? He said, I'm going to sit and watch highlights of DeForest Buckner and drink some beers. That's what I'm going to do. He was like, that's how I'm going to spend my first round draft night. I'm very thankful for who we got. And if you feel like, so if you don't trade for him, you think that you're going to be able to find a Julio Jones then in the second or third round, right? Of some position, a Julio Jones of some position. And maybe you will be able to do that. Maybe. And Chris seems like Quentin Nelson, Darius Leonard, his draft picks.
Justin Blackmon.
He's been able to find, it seems like, dudes in the draft. But he is not against trading away and saying this guy is better than anybody we can get at this. You think you can find a Julio Jones in the third round? Is that how you're supposed to look at it? That's how I'm looking at it. You think
you can't find a Julio Jones in the first round?
You can't find a Julio Jones. Like that is just what you can't. He's Julio fucking Jones. This is the aside from guy. I feel like we must be just much different than everybody else. Myles Garrett, he's playing basketball again. I don't know if you've seen this. AJ, did you see this?
I haven't seen a recent one.
Bro, some whites in Cleveland, I think. Yeah, they showed up at the wrong court at the wrong time at the wrong pickup game. Myles Garrett decided he wanted to play as well, and I'll tell you what, old buddy does get absolutely dunked on, and Myles Garrett with the crossover, taking the lane behind the back, crossed up a guy twice, yams on him, sends him into a pole. Old white headband is amazed by what he just seen right there.
Why is that? I mean, I would not be trying to play that such great defense on him. And he's going to dunk on you. Don't try to block that.
I respect that he is doing that, though. This is the same guy who is, a guy daps him up, and then there's a tie-dye stooge in there. I mean, this pickup game is
there two cameras here? Who was shooting this from multiple angles?
I would assume this is, that's just a zoom in of the same shot. Okay. This is probably a kid who's waiting to play in the next game. Somebody that's just classic pickup. Unless this is a private pickup game, which it might be. It's a beautiful gymnasium. If it was private, they'd be playing the other direction, I think. But yeah, old buddy with the headbands, he knew exactly. He had a front row seat to what everybody on the internet was going to see. I like the fact that guy was playing such hard defense, but that beautifully illustrates why I don't do pickup games anymore. You see how hard that guy's going on Myles Garrett just because he's like, I get a chance to play against Myles Garrett? I walk into those things, they're fucking full court press, patting the ground before I get the ball. I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. This guy tried to get a swat on Myles Garrett. Instead, he got posterized by Myles Garrett. Something he'll remember forever. Good beard, good flow, right into a pole. Love that guy. Love that guy. Ooh.
I would imagine the Browns are probably like, all right, you look awesome, man. Now shut her down. Basketball.
All right, we're not going to have you. Andrew Barry, hey, we're not going to have you break your ankle on some unathletic white. You hear me? I mean, great highlights. Love what you're doing. Love the cardio in the offseason, but let's not pick up another basketball ever again or another little white to dunk on. All right, let's not do anything like that. Let's get back to it. Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney, by the way, same D-line. And he was doing that one hamstring thing when he was coming up. Myles Garrett might be the peak human right now, by the way. He might be the peak human right now with what it looks like, and which makes that defensive decision by that guy so much more impressive. But he is, I think he's potentially, he was like defensive MVP conversation, and now he's got another guy on that D-line, yet another guy. I mean, that's a problem.
Why don't the Browns go get Julio?
Do they got it?
Where are they going to put him?
Money,
Oh, yeah. They got a second.
Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Julio Jones, Chubb and Hunt.
Hooper.
Njoku.
Higgins.
The Browns have 19 million cap space next year.
Chargers, too.
They don't have the cojones. They don't have the gutsack to make a move like that.
Yeah, they did. They went and got to Davion. I mean, they were in.
He stinks.
Hey, what if I send Andrew Barry and say, don't you even think about it? Don't you
Put your phone down.
even think about doing what you're thinking about doing right now. Joining us now, he's going to call him. We got a guy who probably knows who's potentially in these conversations, and he's going to have to play it cool. You know what I mean? He's going to have to play it cool with like what he can say and what he can't say. But I think we should put his feet to the fire here a little bit. Schrags is going to be joining us here in like a minute or two. I think he probably has a lot more insight on who's potentially making a move here, right?
You would think. Yeah, he seems like he explained his mock draft. He doesn't watch film. He goes off of just speaking with executives and scouts to everyone. So I assume those lines of communication are open year round.
Yeah, and he's doing a new 10-part, I think, interview series or conversation period.
Like coaching class.
Coaching class with Sean McVay. Cannot wait to hear that. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, an Emmy-nominated host, an insider for Fox, Peter Schrager. What's up, Schrags?
Let's go. How we doing?
Hey, I don't see any shaving cream. Good news. Okay, we're off to a better start than last time. I do like it. Good. You look good. You look fantastic. How you doing, man? What's this thing with McVay? You text me about it. I seen the headlines. I didn't fully dive into it. I'm excited for this because McVay is obviously a great speaker, great coach. You two have known each other since Senior Bowl days, drinking beers together. What is this? I'm pumped to hear about it.
All right, so I usually can't stand when they interview a coach on the podium. I usually hate when we have to watch the sideline reporter interview a coach at the NBA game. Coach, or in the dugout. I hate it. It's called coach speak. It gives me the chills. It's so bad. It's cliche. It's generic, and those coaches hate talking as much as anyone. But McVay and I talk a lot. We talk all the time, and last year around this time, we were like, we should do a show together. I was like, well, it's not that easy. And he's like, no, I will talk about anything, and I will be candid, and I will be open. I'm like, no, you won't. The second I bring up Jared Goff or Todd Gurley, you're going to clam up and not be yourself. And he's like, you're probably right. I can't talk about anything, but I do want to talk and be normal, and I like talking with you. So Bill Simmons at the Ringer and Spotify came to me and said, hey, we're looking about doing this thing called Flying Coach. Last year, Pete Carroll and Steve Kerr did it. Is there a coach you're really close with? I'm like, let me ask McVay. Let's see if he does it. McVay was all in. So we're doing a podcast. It's just 10 episodes. It's not one of these every week where we need to book a new guest. It's 10 episodes, and each episode is going to be a coach in the NFL and someone that we think we can get to be a little unfiltered. And the first episode, we did two coaches. We did LaFleur and Saleh together, and both of you guys will appreciate this. Those guys were roommates in 2004 at Central Michigan, where they were grad assistants, and they both made $9,000 a year and lived in a one-bedroom apartment together. And they're now NFL head coaches, one of them in New York, the other one in Green Bay. And we tell the stories, and it's unfiltered, and they both were great, and Sean's fantastic. Pat, I remember when you first got involved in this, and AJ, when you started doing a lot of the media stuff, I'm like, those guys are talents. McVay's going to be coaching for as long as he wants to, but if he ever wants to stop, he's got a media job waiting. He's really good. He's a great host, which is the coolest part about it. It's not me interviewing him. It's two of us BSing and letting the viewers in and listeners in. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Can't wait to hear it. I heard he was offered a significant amount of cash to do Monday Night Football, which I was pumped to hear about for like a week or two, and then he went back to coaching. Now he's got Matthew Stafford. By the way, can't wait to listen. Congrats on your show.
Congrats, Schrags.
Congrats, Schrags. That's awesome. And congrats to McVay as well on his successful media career whenever he wants. So good for him. And he's awesome. The LA Rams, though, could be a team that could get Julio? No? Are they a team that could get Julio? Or in your eyes, there are a lot of other landing places like the Colts, for instance, where he probably should go to, or maybe the Titans, they're recruiting him hard. And do they have any offers on the table? What are you knowing about the whole Julio situation right now?
None of this could happen till June 1st. So all this speculation, it's almost like this is the recruiting period. We can have AJ Brown or Pat McAfee videos all we want until then, because nothing's going to happen until June 1st. And you can recruit and do what you got to do. If
City
the Rams
is awesome. Place is great.
If the Rams were going to do it, I feel like I would have heard more about it, and they might have done it quicker. Like the way they work over there, when they wanted Stafford, it's like, all right, go get Stafford. When they wanted Jalen Ramsey, it was like, go get Jalen Ramsey. The fact that it's been so quiet over there, and I haven't talked to Sean directly about it, but I think if it was going to happen, you'd already be hearing about it. The Rams, I'd be a little surprised. Never shocked with them, the way they're aggressive. The Cardinals are a team that I thought would be uber aggressive on this thing. Their whole offseason has been go get J.J. Watt, go get Rodney Hudson, go make it. They haven't been very active or heard anything from them. So I think it might be one of those AFC teams, guys. Honestly, I think it might be Titans, might be Colts, might be Ravens, might be Patriots. And Julio, as you know, I think he could have a Randy Moss-like effect when he came to New England. I think Julio is going to tear the roof off whatever new team he goes to. He is that good and still that hungry. I cannot wait to see where he ends up.
Hey, Strakes, you mentioned teams with that are solid teams that have potential. They're going to be good. I heard Julio does not have a no trade clause. Is there a possibility that he gets traded to a bad team, because that in turn would give them a better first-round pick if they do get a first-round pick?
I don't see it, AJ. It's a great question. The thing that I see with him, it's almost like the Matt Stafford situation up in Detroit. They don't want to end on bad terms with Julio. They know that they agreed to a contract. This isn't his doing. They agreed to a contract that fiscally does not make any sense, and there's new management, and they're looking at the books, and they're like, we just can't afford this guy over the next several years if we're going to rebuild and also try to build something where we're going to be competitive in other positions than wide receiver. And if we can get something for him, we're going to. But they are not. I would be shocked if you saw Julio Jones lining up for a 4-12 team or a 5-11 team. I think they're going to do him a solid, and I think the Atlanta Falcons will trade him to a destination that can win and actually compete for a ring.
Oh, that's why that situation with Shannon is so interesting, because they had like a mutual agreement, like, hey, we're going to do this thing right. We're going to do this how we got to do it. And then he gets, I'm out of there, dude. Yeah, I just want to go win, like, and then who knows if he knew or if he didn't know, but you could. What do you hear?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. As connected I am with Fox, I don't have a relationship with Shannon.
Who does know?
Show,
who knows
so.
that?
Who knows, Shreds? Who knows?
I don't know. I honestly don't. I'm not even getting nervous talking to you guys. I literally have zero information. I actually don't care about that situation, the ins and outs, and it was actually good, compelling TV. But I'll let anyone else deal with the ramifications of that. I had no idea how that all went down.
So you were told not to talk about it. That's awesome.
That's
awesome. Sorry we put you in that spot.
I can't imagine it's something they want me talking about.
You got it. Friend of the show. We'll move along. We won't put you in that spot. Around the NFL, OTAs are happening. Some places aren't. Some places are. What is the word from how the NFLPA, the NFL, moving forward? Are they going to change OTAs, or do they view this as a big win? The NFLPA, the NFL, this kind of all settled down, but it seems like everybody's back to work, which is great news for all of us, I think, in a media world.
It's great news for us, and I think that right now the word we heard from the NFL yesterday was that as of right now, if the plan is as is, 30 of 32 teams could have full capacity week one. Yeah. Guys, it's unbelievable. Sports are going to be back. I went to the Knick game. I went to the Knick game last night.
Did you spit on a guy? Did you spit on Trae Young?
It wasn't me. I'll tell you what. There is a fury. I don't even know how to explain this. Like, the way the Knicks fans were so jacked last night for Knicks basketball, and then to take it all out on this one young man who has been amazing was incredible. It was like Reggie Miller type stuff. But my point is, everyone said sports are coming back. We had a Super Bowl. The truth of the matter was, I kind of said it with like two sides of my mouth. Sports, they were not back. Sports with fans is when sports are back. Yeah. So that bubble situation with the NBA, like, not taking anything away from LeBron and AD, like, they won their championship, and the Dodgers might have won a World Series, and the Bucks might have won a Super Bowl. But sports with fans in the building are when sports are officially back. And last night was my first big sporting event like that. 15,000 fans, rabid fans. And it was awesome. So these OTAs and all that stuff, I feel like we're trending in the right direction. Some teams, the Packers didn't have Rodgers or their top 5 wide receivers at OTAs, but the Jets had 80 players at their OTA practices. And 80 players out of 90, that's pretty darn good. Like, some teams are there, others aren't. And I feel like sports are back, and I cannot be more excited for this NFL season.
Amen.
Shregs, what are you hearing out of Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence and obviously with Timmy Tebow? How's he doing there with the transition?
They're excited. They're going to give Tim Tebow a shot, man. And I'm fascinated to see how it plays out, because Urban obviously is bringing him in with the opportunity, the thought that he's going to make the team. Like, Urban wouldn't do this for some publicity or gimmick. Like, that's not what they're about, or at least Urban Meyer's not about that. Urban thinks this guy can help the team, and at the very least, that he can set the standard for what an Urban Meyer ideal player. This is Urban Meyer's favorite player of all time. And he's also a friend, and you can go through all the, hey, it's just a friend helping out a friend or all it is, but he's going to have to make the squad. And they're excited down there. It's not just Trevor Lawrence, and it's not just Urban Meyer, and it's certainly not just Tebow. But there's a lot of young players, and there are a lot of guys who feel like this is their time. This is their time to step up. And I can tell you all the vibes out of Jacksonville, now that we're in May and going into June, are really positive, and not just that this is going to be a feel-good story and a fun rebuild, but like we could be competitive with this quarterback and this head coach leading the way.
I heard Trevor Lawrence talking about it, and now Trevor Lawrence is a super nice guy. I was complimenting him. Hey, he's running, he's moving, he looks good, he's jacked, he's in good shape. But it sure sounded like how, a friend would describe a potential lady that was coming alongside of his significant other, like maybe on like great personality, like that. Trevor Lawrence was like great in the locker room, good leadership, love being around him. I was like, okay, maybe he doesn't know how he is on the field yet, but it does feel as if everybody down there is probably a big fan of Tebow and is like, hey, pumped to be teammates with Tim Tebow. I'm excited to see how it all pans out. I think he ends up 1,000 yards probably.
Easy.
Okay. 1,000 yards probably. Yeah, a couple tuds, maybe 7 to 8 touchdowns, probably this whole thing. Or
Dallas Clark, right? Like that's what you're thinking? Like,
no, do not disrespect Dallas Clark. Okay, Tebow's a legend, but Dallas, don't you do that to Dallas. Go ahead, Todd.
I think he might make it, though. Honestly, Pat, I think he might make it. Like,
let's go.
Let's see how it goes. There's 90 spots for this roster thing, and if they release him, it's because, you know what? Urban could not look at his team in good faith and say, this guy's one of the 53 best players. But if he brought him in and he's not embarrassing himself and he performs the way that they're hoping him to perform and he plays tight end and he's your third tight end, I honestly think there's a shot he makes this thing.
What about, he's got to be a core special teamer, though, doesn't he, if he's third tight end?
He does. I think he does, AJ. I also think they need to have some sort of red zone package or some sort of way where they do get him in at quarterback and you see some of that Taysom Hill stuff or you see whatever quarterback you want to call it, where he comes in for those special packages. But
hey, that's Tebow stuff, not Taysom Hill stuff. Please,
it's true. It's true. That was Tebow stuff long before Taysom Hill stuff.
Thank you.
Urban doesn't need to do this. Like Urban's not, and I know people are like, well, they're looking for publicity. I'm like, it's an NFL team. 32 of them exist. If you win football games, you're getting publicity. We talked about the Jaguars nonstop on Good Morning Football a few years ago because they won. They went to the AFC Championship game, and you can't ignore it. I think Urban's doing this genuinely and earnestly, and I think there's a chance that Tebow makes this team.
You can say what you want about talking about them endlessly on Good Morning Football, but they still have to tarp out entire sections at the top. You bring in Jacksonville legend, I think they sell those tickets rather quickly, at least for the first time or second time. But if Tebow's a player, you're 100% right. You win, you have fans, but you got to win consistently, and I think Jacksonville has been so...
I know.
You know what I mean? And their fans are ready down there, brother. They got fans that are boozing, pooling, having a good time. If they get good, that place will become a real environment. Go ahead, Ty.
Shreg, you alluded to a bunch of guys being absent from Packers OTAs earlier. Have you heard anything from the team side as to what exactly in the hell is going on up there? And do you have any idea, like what timeline we're going to get for the Rodgers situation to potentially be solved? Like, do you think it'll be before the big Goff match on July 6th?
Yeah, I honestly, this is the quixotic part of this, where a lot of quarterbacks are in constant touch with their front office, and Brady's going to miss practice, but don't worry, I'll be. There hasn't been that feeling from Rodgers. I don't think there's been any real contact with the front office. Now, Pat, I love what you did. You did the whole bit about when Rodgers said, "I love Jordan Love, I love the coaching staff," and all the coaching staff's like, "Yes, it's not us, it's us too." Like, I love it. It's so true. Because I can tell you, LaFleur adores Rodgers and cherishes the idea of coaching him, and the idea that it might be our LaFleur Rodgers thing. I could tell you, Matt was like, "We're good, we're good. I think we're good." And the fact that he's out there in Hawaii and he's on the ukulele and he's with Miles Teller and he's in all this stuff, like I could tell you, it feels like the further we go down that rabbit hole, the longer it takes for me to think that Rodgers is going to be back in Green Bay under center, calling out plays. That coaching staff. That coaching staff, they love him, dude, and they would love nothing more. But they also know that they might have to get Jordan Love ready if this is what we're seeing out there in Hawaii. Rodgers looks pretty happy. He's 15 pounds lighter. Like it doesn't seem like he's in any rush right now to get back to Green Bay to be mixing it up with Goody and the boys.
AJ, any thoughts?
Well, maybe he chooses July 6th, that big golf match, and he makes like a big announcement. Like, hey. He looks into the camera right down the road. I'm coming back, guys. Can't wait. And then everyone's happy.
Could be. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, and AJ, you might know better. I don't think he's ever missed any of these voluntary things. I don't think he's ever missed that July 6th deadline. So these are unique times. And the fact he went on the Kenny Mayne farewell show, and I thought they both were great on it. The fact that he went on there and he was so happy and so zen and so chill and still couldn't say, don't worry, Packers fans, I'll be there, or it'll all work itself out. Like if you're in the most kumbaya period of your life, and it seems like he is in a great place mentally and emotionally, and even then you're not like, let's let bygones be bygones. I got to think that we might be a little bit further away than we'd like to be if you're the Packers.
And he did say, I love Green Bay. I love the fans, in that whole, he didn't say much in there, right? And I assume Kenny knew that was going to happen. And to your point, to echo that, I thought they were both great in there. We enjoyed it. Don't know why you would do it on the last Sports Center instead of the first Kenny Mayne show wherever he's going. Hopefully he does that. But
he'll do that too.
Yeah, I think it would have been great. But we didn't learn much in there either. And AJ probably does know more than he is able to dodge for 3 hours or 2.5 hours, 3 hours every day. But I don't think anybody has a clue how this thing ends. I don't think anybody has a clue. And it's very, very, it's leveled. There's contracts involved. There's money involved. There's allegedly the Broncos are involved at one point. It's insane. I can't thank you.
Here's my question to you guys, because you guys know Aaron well from doing 22 shows with him this year. If Goody and Mark Murphy were to fly to Hawaii and show up at that door, what does Rodgers say?
AJ?
Probably says, come on in, guys.
Hey, got a guitar for you.
Yeah. And then he films them playing. He does a little duet with them, maybe some Taylor Swift, and then everything's good, right?
Is that what you think?
I have this vision of them showing up in casual attire, being like, "We're just gonna take it by bull by the horns. Let's get there. We got to go to Hawaii."
Hawaiian shirts,
and then that knock coming, and then Rodgers, do you answer that door? We're having this amazing week. We're singing Taylor Swift on a ukulele.
No, nobody answers that door.
Miles.
And then Goody shows up with the knock. Do you answer it like it's David Baker from the Hall of Fame and say, "Come on in"?
It's like the cops being there, pretty much.
Yeah, the cops are straight up. Oh shit! But Miles Teller might stare that one down. You know what I mean? He might open that thing.
Is it aloha, hello, and goodbye?
Yeah.
So he just says that with their brain and a pretzel.
Shuts
they
the
don't
door.
know what to do.
Hey.
He's throwing shakas out there. He is living. He's earned this, obviously, to be able to do whatever the hell he wants.
It looks so fun.
It does. It looks like a blast. Yeah, I love Hawaii too. Man.
I was watching those videos this morning. We were showing them on the television show, and I literally am in my Brooklyn apartment doing the show on remote, and there is a dump truck that is backing up in my ear, like this close to my ear, and I'm just hearing the dump truck just taking garbage and leveling it about 20 inches from my ear. And I'm watching videos of Rodgers with Shailene Woodley with a water fountain over his head, and he's got a perfect six-pack. And I'm like, we're in different places right now. That's what's going on.
Yeah, you and Aaron will be in different places for the rest of your life.
Sure. I know.
Me too, by the way. Aaron is in different places with a lot of people. Let's talk about you being remote, though, and staying in the streets. Everybody moved out to the suburbs. You stayed in the streets of the city. We're back. City's back. We've been seeing pictures. Why are you guys remote right now? What's going on?
We are remote for this week, and I believe we'll be going back to studio soon. I'm not exactly sure the reasons. I don't ask the whys and the whens, but we have these remote studios set up in all of our homes. So I think it was one of these deals where we're like, it's the off season. It's kind of a quiet period. Let's just take a little bit less not getting up at 4 a.m. and driving in, an hour and a half to the city. Why don't we just be able to do the shows from home and get through? And then once the training camp starts coming up, we'll be back in studio for sure.
Hey, good decision, by the way.
Hey, baby Shregs, there was a report on this show yesterday that there was a complete blackout in New York. Can you confirm or deny that this did happen?
I didn't see it. I must have missed this part of the show, and I did not see a blackout. I apologize.
Well, we lost connection to Sirius in the middle of the show yesterday, and Zito drops in my ear and goes, we're off of Sirius. But we have to keep going because we're live on YouTube. We asked what happens in the series. He goes, New York has experienced an entire power outage in New York.
No. Actually, there was one year, 2003, I want to say. It was called.
That was a false report. We'd like to apologize for that narrative we almost pushed yesterday. Jesus.
Yeah, it's alarming. It's scary. 2003, there was something called the brownout, I want to say, where the entire city went down. In summer of it was like August 03, and it was one of the most fun days in New York City. Everyone just went drinking, and there was no power. It was great.
Yeah, it's like you guys living like the Amish, Jeremiah and Gabriel and them.
Exactly.
Abraham and Gabriel. Yeah, shout out to them.
Thank you, Amish.
Hey, shout out to the Amish, by the way. This is
Love
the
you.
biggest Amish show on the
Amish.
internet.
They love it.
Shregs, thanks for joining us. When's that thing debut? And are there any other coaches that you can? It's all 10 are out?
No. Just the first one's out. It's Saleh and LaFleur, and I'm telling you, there's ball busting. Like it's a lot of the ethos that you guys bring every day, which I love so much, and I envy. And me and McVay kind of have that dynamic, and we're doing it with all these coaches. And then moving forward, it's going to be a different coach each week. But we got some good ones in the hopper. We're excited to get on.
You got Mike Tomlin coming on?
There might be a Mike Tomlin one. We haven't confirmed yet, but it might be a Raheem Morris, Mike Tomlin combo. Those guys have history, and that might be our four that day.
Hey, Tomlin, if you can get him to go, I've heard he is electrifying off microphone. That is
going to be Sean's big ask, because I haven't asked Sean to flex his muscles yet. I have zero relationship with Mike Tomlin outside of professional, doing the stuff. But that's when Sean's going to earn his keep. If he's going to start looking Mike Tomlin,
Ladies and gentlemen, host of Flying Coach,
which I never do.
Hell yeah.
Great. Emmy nominated, ladies and gentlemen, Peter Schrager. Thank you, Shregs. Guy's awesome. Did we go to a break yet?
No.
Oh, shit.
Not yet.
We're back on the other side here.
Glad we got that blackout figured out. Clarified.
Well, it was an outage. It was an outage in the building.
There was like one GFI was tripped somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere in the building,
Oh, good tech talk out of you, by the way. The GFI, would you have to reset it there?
Yeah, it happens all the time in my garage.
You just gotta flip the switch, dude.
Oh, red light. Oh, that red light's on. I gotta pop that back in.
Green, yellow. Golly. Sometimes your finger starts hurting too. You gotta push it in. We're back in 4 minutes because we have to be. This is the Pat McAfee Show with AJ Hawk and the Bugle Boys and the Hammer Down Boys. Thursday, May 27th. A former Celebrity Jeopardy champion, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I've missed you guys.
We've missed you too, man. Where are you? Are you out in the woods somewhere right now? Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in a log cabin out here.
Have you been doing this since the end of the season? How'd the Jeopardy thing come? How'd you film it? How'd it go? And is that your first time you were kind of back in cell service?
Yeah, pretty much. I did some quarantine during the off season, early parts. The missus was filming up in Montreal, so I was, Quebec has some strict quarantine rules, so I was in quarantine for a few weeks, and then went out to LA and filmed the 2 weeks of Jeopardy, had a blast, and then back for some more quarantine. And now, the off season feels like it's just beginning now.
Okay, good. Well, congratulations on everything happening. Let's talk about the Jeopardy job. Did you watch the other hosts as well, what they were doing potentially that you would want to do differently? How did the whole film study go?
I haven't watched an episode since Alex. Okay. I didn't really want to be influenced at all by the other guest hosts.
Smart.
And how they did things. For me, it was taking a lot of notes and figuring out, exactly what Alex did and wanting to do him justice, his memory justice by being as prepared as possible when I got on the show.
The hair, though, was there a thought potentially, Jeopardy, for you to cut it? Did anybody say, hey, maybe we cutting the hair? Was that conversation? Because I'll tell you, whenever I was going to have to go to court after the public intoxication, a lot of talk about me potentially cutting hair. Didn't do it. I would assume for you, potential same thing with Jeopardy, being Jeopardy and all that.
I thought about it. I also thought about shaving to a mustache to honor Alex, but my hair wasn't long enough that I couldn't do something with it. You know, I felt like we had a nice little comb over going, and I just decided to go with kind of my usual, you know, a little bit of some stubble going, and not the neck beard. Sorry, Andrew Luck, but I decided to kind of clean that up a little bit. But there was conversation. I think there might have been some people that wanted me to shave to the skin. I don't do that a whole lot. If that was a prereq to get the full-time gig, no problem with it at all. No problem at all. And
Whoa. Did you just campaign potentially for the full-time gig right there? You loved doing it, didn't you? You enjoyed the hell out of your time doing Jeopardy? Hold on, you lost service in the middle of the woods, wherever the hell you are, whether it's in Canada, here, or in America, on the films. You would love to do Jeopardy more, you say?
I would love to be the host of Jeopardy, yes.
And I hope you get it, dude.
Give it to him.
The guy wants it.
Come on.
He's good at everything. He'll shave his face.
Come on.
Thanks, buddy. Miss you guys. Love you guys.
Hey, miss you, love you, man.
Love you
Aaron
too,
Rodgers.
man.
Hey, listen, tonight, you in the red, you in the blue. I hate you both, and fuck you too. Before I leave here, I'm knocking all you out. Cheers. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. You too. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Bang. And I'm out. Get me out.
It's the show recommended by 0 out of 5 old white guys. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Today's sponsor is Public.com, an investing app where you can buy stocks, follow investors, and listen to this, AJ, share ideas.
Whoa!
Hey, let's do a little word shopping around here.
Okay.
Let's do a little brainstorming around here.
Hell yeah.
Let's share ideas. Public.com is an investing app that wants to help you help you. I joined Public, and you can see my portfolio if you search for @PatMcAfee in the app. I've made some moves, okay? All right.
Ooh.
I'm all in on some stuff. My portfolio.
What are you in on?
What's that, bub?
What are you in on? Let me know.
Well, it depends on the day. You know, I got to wake up. I kind of
It's public, so we can see it. We can look it up.
Yeah,
Go to
you
the
can. You
website
can
then.
follow right now. You
Yeah.
can follow right now at Public. If you want to know what I'm investing in, I could tell you right now, but then I'd be doing Public a disservice. The reason why it exists is so you can follow along and see what others are doing. Now, it is not advice. This is not investment advice. No, it's just, gathering intel for you to make the best decision for you. You can follow other users' portfolios, including Shaq, Tony Hawk, and thousands more.
Whoa, Lonnie
The app
Paxton.
is free. Probably. The app, I don't know. The app is free, and you can start with as little as $1 because obviously you can buy slices or portions of the stock or full shares.
Okay.
And they don't sell your data or information to third parties or market makers like other stupid investment apps in the past. Disclaimer, this is valid for U.S. residents who are 18 plus, subject to account approval. See public.com/disclosures. This is not investment advice. Go to public.com/Pat McAfee to download the Public app. Once again, make sure you go to public.com/Pat McAfee to get a free stock slice. AJ, I hope you do that so you can learn a little bit about something.
All right, I'm going to get on there and start following you, man. I know it's not advice, but I would like to gather info, as you said, and make decisions.
I bet on aliens.
Elon, who else?
Vince McMahon.
Jeff.
Bezos.
Yeah.
Aliens.
Yeah. That's good. That's probably a very smart move.
Hey, let's talk about Jeff Bezos. He's going to be an owner of an NFL team soon, I think. There's conversations that Jay-Z is potentially going to try to align to get a portion of the Washington football team after Dan Snyder bought up the entirety of the Washington football team. But remember, the minority stake owners of the Washington football team last year before the season, as the exposés were rolling out on top of each other, they were trying to force Snyder out of the NFL. Dan Snyder rides the wave somehow, survives. As soon as the season's over, says, hey, You're getting the fuck out of here. Buys them out. I assume he's looking for new investors or to sell off portions of the team. Maybe, I don't know. Irsay is 100% owner here. But Jay-Z's allegedly trying to get involved there. Bezos was who we thought was going to get the Washington football team. But now the Chicago Bears are potentially up for grabs. And more information. Yeah, the McAfee family is allegedly going to try to sell the Chicago Bears in the very near future, says Daniel Greenberg at Shy Sport Updates. But also, the Chargers are potentially in trouble. As more numbers come out about the Spanos family and their ownership, they're like $1 billion in debt or whatever. They owe a certain amount of money, allegedly. We don't know what's real, what's not real. But we might see 2 teams up for sale in the NFL, which never, ever happens. You got to assume Mark Cuban, Jeff Bezos are going to try to get involved. And I think we should try to make a run as well, AJ.
I agree. Let's get a little piece. I mean, the Bears, that's a historic franchise. If that comes up for sale, that will be worth, I would imagine, more than the Chargers would be, right?
I would assume it would be worth more than the Chargers, but the Chargers are in LA, so it's still going to be quite an expensive run.
Both great teams to be an owner of.
Yeah,
Either
especially with Herbert and potentially Justin Fields playing football.
Second biggest city, too.
Third largest city in America, in Chicago. The Bears fan base hasn't had a winner in a long time. I'd assume if you go in there and flip that thing into a winner, you're going to be beloved forever. And the Chargers owner, I mean, that could be up. I mean, that's a good
They're all
team.
just fighting, right? The family's fighting?
Yeah, they're in court right now. One sister saying the other siblings need money and they're running the thing into the ground. This is not what the family wanted, so who knows? But Chicago and LA Chargers might be up for sale. Let's assume there's billionaires lining up to get into that action. We're going to try to do the same as well. Hour 3, the show will be much better than the first 2 hours. We promise you that. Not great, but good. See you in 6.
The goalie finds his way, and Sidney Crosby, the captain, the greatest of all time, according to Pat McAfee, he wins tonight, and that is my lock of the night. The Pittsburgh Penguins money line. Hell, you might as well take them -1.5 at plus 202. There's no chance.
Oh, no.
0% chance the Penguins lose tonight. What's this all about? I mean, I've been listening to you for the last 48 hours. Talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I'm a fan. That's all
Talk
you've
about
heard.
the Stanley Cup. Talk about Sidney Crosby.
This is because your Red Wings stink,
And they're not in the
you want to
tournament.
take it out on a real hockey
Get
guy.
out. And that is why I'm taking the Pens.
You're
Do you
banned.
think they're going to win tonight?
You're banned. You're banned.
Just because the Red Wings, okay, can't make it into the fucking dance, doesn't mean you need to waltz your ass over to the Pittsburgh
Look.
Penguins like you did to the Steelers.
Put a puck right in his teeth, dude.
We led off the Pat McAfee show today by you saying basically hockey stinks and no one cares about hockey. Here we go.
That's not how.
Penguins. Here we go.
That's not the chant, dude.
Penguins going to the Stanley Cup.
Get out.
Here we go.
That's not how chant goes, dudes.
God damn it!
Let's go, Pens. Oh! What the fuck?
Oh no! We have a casualty. Oh no!
Mitt, I'm gonna need you to zoom in on that. I'm gonna need you to lower the camera.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Take your Mickey Mouse plate and
Mick,
get out.
Mick, get rid of the money line.
Kindly
dude.
leave.
Other camera.
Now scroll down.
Other
Zoom
camera.
down, Mitt.
Other camera.
I'm so confused.
Yes. Other camera.
I'm so confused.
Couch camera.
That
Dead.
Why'd you do that?
Mitt, with the Nick and Gumpy camera, will you zoom in on the ground, please?
What happened? What I
Thank
just
you.
left.
He happened.
Nick spiked that plant.
I can't have it, Pat. I only care about a few things in this
All right,
world.
you can
You
zoom
know
out
that.
now,
And
Mitt.
hockey is one of them. The Pittsburgh Penguins are right at the top of that goddamn list, and he's pissing all over him right now.
I mean, fair. I mean, this is going to take a while to clean up. There's shards everywhere.
Strap metal, dude.
Yeah.
Shrapnel.
Hey,
dude.
thanks, Foxy. I have to pick that up now.
Probably, but where was that?
What's going on though?
Connor's playing. It was on his.
So listen, Foxy.
What?
You fuck over his life?
Yeah.
Is what you did?
I
He
did.
said fuck over Connor's life. This is a trend now.
Do we not think that the Pens are going to win tonight? That's all they got to do.
We do.
We did. That's all we got to do. We got to get a goalie in net that's not Swiss cheese, and we're all happy at the end of the day.
What happened? Like, what?
It's lucky.
Is this immediately after I left?
Yeah.
Fuck, it's
You're lucky you weren't here. Dude, you would have caught one in the neck probably.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't risk.
But who has a cactus?
Oh, I would love to get Connor's thoughts on this plant being fucking broken. Luckily, the styrofoam is
still good. Just get this succulent out of my sight.
The death of succulent is not on me.
Oh, you want to go to hell? Oh, you stupid fucking penguin! Go! And I'm taking the Panthers! And I'm taking the Panthers! You just dropped the glove! You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch!
All right, good scrap, boys. Good scrap. Fucking stick tap.
Goddamn socially distant conflict? What do you guys do? What was this? We lost the thing.
Oh no, the
You're
Iowa.
too fucking cool with that.
The Iowa.
Fight him. No. Okay?
The Hawkeye popcorn's on the.
Go to hell then! Get the hell out of here! Screw you!
What are you doing?
The Hawkeye popcorn's done.
Just ready for
And I'm
war.
taking whoever's playing the Penguins because he's destroying the Steelers and the Penguins for you two clowns.
You guys need to figure it out. You hear me?
What are you still doing in here? You made your pick. Get out.
Fade Foxy.
Are you all right? Good scrap. Hey, good scrap.
I'm good.
Fucking, I stick tapped you.
I'm physically fine, mentally destroyed.
Had to.
Guys ruined everything.
Call the money line 1-833-462-2233.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to that show. Hour 3 on this beautiful Thursday, May 27th, 2021 will begin right now. Shout out to Twine for that. It's awesome. AJ Hawk, Hammer Down Boys, Bugle Boys, everybody in the back. Can't thank you enough for listening or watching wherever the hell you may be, whether it's on Sirius XM Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio, or youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. We can't thank you enough. AJ, what is something you don't think we've talked about enough today that we need to dive into? I got something, but I'll let you go first here.
Well, I when I looked on Twitter a couple hours ago, what was Colin Cowherd's big news? Did you see his tweet saying big news? Media should be all over this.
I believe that was probably about Clay Travis and Buck Sexton taking over Rush Limbaugh's radio spot. I believe that that was the decision made. So Clay Travis is going into the politics world, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess he's getting into the politics world. I'm not 100% sure. Fox bought him. Now I guess he's going into the politics world. Maybe it'll be sports and politics. Not exactly sure. Clay has had a morning show for a long time. I believe Outkick was a radio show. I got a chance to be on it one time. He is announced. I think that's what it was. Not 100% sure. But on the Colin Cowherd subject, Alex Smith, who I am growing more so by the day of being a fan of, because I did not know Alex Smith was the way he is, I don't think. I think after learning about his big comeback and the amount of work that went into it, and then listening to him do some conversations and everything like that, never really considered myself a potential Alex Smith fan. I think I'm an Alex Smith fan at this point.
Yeah.
I was always an Aaron Rodgers guy, so whenever Alex gets drafted ahead of Aaron, although Aaron didn't hate him or whatever, I kind of was like, this guy's going to be better. But you're talking about a guy who's had a great career, had one of the most impressive, inspiring comebacks that I think any of us have ever seen. He sat down with Cowherd on The Herd yesterday, I believe, and talked about the Aaron Rodgers situation. Fascinating hearing it from Alex Smith, who has been there, done that with this situation a couple times now. Go ahead and run that.
It's inexcusable. It's absolutely, I think.
What do you mean?
How they ever got to this point. I mean, Aaron's been there 16 years, what he's given to that organization and been there. And for them, I think, to what happened last year during the draft, and I haven't talked to Aaron about this, so I don't want to put words in his mouth, but clearly to watch the interview and him talk about it's about the people. And it is, and Aaron's been there that long, and I don't think it was the fact that they drafted Jordan Love in the first round. I mean, I think it's the fact that you just, how do you have a guy like Aaron and you don't go make sure beforehand you aren't going out of your way to make sure that he knows that he's loved, that they want him there, that we may be taking a quarterback in the first round. We want to make sure you're okay with it. This is maybe what we're doing. We're thinking, how you haven't treated him the right way leading up to that, and to the fact that, from my understanding, it's kind of like it was a bit of an unknown, a bit blindsided. You go from potentially thinking you may be taking a receiver, you're thinking you're a move away from the Super Bowl.
Right.
And then blindsided with a pick. I just don't understand how an organization, how you haven't addressed that beforehand when you make a move like that and really made sure that everything is tightened up and everybody's feeling good about that. Because if it's not, you're not doing it, in my opinion. You're just not. It's just not the way you run a business. It's not the way you're treating people. 16 years this guy's been there. You were on the doorstep of the Super Bowl, and you don't go out of your way to communicate that and to show that he's, that, hey, you're wanted. This may be something we're doing, sorry. And, but you don't make sure that everybody's on the same page and feeling good about that. I think, it's not just football. That's any business or team.
Yeah.
Bad business, says Alex Smith to Colin Cowherd about the way this whole thing has been handled. And he's only talking about one particular situation, which is the drafting of Jordan Love, trading in there, let alone all the other things that potentially happen. And I think he's referring to the Kenny Mayne conversation where he talked about the people in the building. And he said, hey, listen, I love my teammates. I love my coaches. I love the fans. I love Green Bay. But this is not how you do business, is what Aaron is basically saying in that interview. That's how Alex Smith took that. And Alex Smith, with the Patrick Mahomes situation, has been there, literally been there before. He said, this is just, how do you do this? 16 years. Whenever he kept saying that is so long. A guy has been the face of a friend. And it wasn't until Alex said it and was like, 16 years, you're not going to tell this guy, hey, thanks. He just won the, you're not even going to, or say, hey, this is what's going down. Andy Dalton got the privilege of finding out they were drafting Justin Fields, and he hadn't even taken a snap yet. He was just told a month ago he was the starter. A little in 16 years. I liked Alex Smith coming out and explaining that a little bit more, because I think people have that high school football, hey, you're a football player, okay? Don't you worry about what the team wants to do. The team does what the team does. It's that's not the way the world works, and that's not how you treat your quarterback either, especially in the NFL, one that is the smartest, and he's going to be a Mount Rushmore football player whenever he's done. It's just, I liked hearing that from Alex. I did not expect it, by the way.
Yeah, he has no agenda behind that. He's just giving his opinion. I think it's cool to see him lay it out. And you're right, when he says 16 years, you really start to think about it. But Green Bay going into the draft, I don't know, maybe they were in a weird spot to where they knew it was a possibility they were going to take a quarterback in the first round. It might not have been their top priority, but then all of a sudden they get there and they realize they want to trade up to take Jordan Love. I understand how it would be tough to maybe make that call to Aaron right there, but don't you think you should have let him know in the weeks leading up to the draft, hey, it's possible we take a QB in the first round, man. I want to make sure we're up front.
Yeah, it's just good business. It feels like it's just good business, and I don't think that's the only situation that I've learned about from whether it's you or Kuhn or anybody else that has kind of spoke about this situation who's been there. It just feels like it's not the way you do. And is it because there isn't an owner? That's like, hey, this is the standard. Like, this is how we're going to treat people. This is how this is going to go. And, it's just, it could be. But there could be an owner, by the way, that's just like, fuck them. Don't tell them, too. So I guess it's kind of a gift and a curse, depending upon how you want to look at it. I think we will all wait with bated breath to see what happened. Now, in the middle of that interview, we all started laughing because Diggs came in here. He was sitting down and he took his chair and right in front of the microphone, he just started shaking it basically. Just started doing his thing. And I didn't know we needed that much WD-40, but it was attacking. And I just looked over and I was like, geez Louise. And then immediately after that, somebody else did it as well in the back. So it's just, we have a chair issue. I think we need some new chairs in the office. They are very loud. It just so happens.
You don't say.
Yeah.
We need some more chairs.
Do not send us 15 gaming chairs. Do
Oh,
not.
dang it.
No, the gaming chairs are too small for what we need them for, although Gumpy is incredibly comfortable over there. It looks like he has the best seat in the house. My thing is actually bending because of the amount of jumping up and down, wear and tear on this thing, so it's actually slanting down. We will need new chairs, but that's what we were laughing about, AJ, and that's why I think you should think about driving over every morning to be in studio for the show.
Yes,
Come on.
Come on in, AJ.
I cannot wait until you buy this big old jet. I could just hop on that little bird and take like a 30-minute flight, right?
You're buying it.
Go ahead, say that sentence again.
No.
Please say that sentence just one more time, what you said there. You can't wait for what?
I can't wait for you to buy a big old plane.
So I'm buying the big old plane, and then what are you doing?
I can hop on that little guy and take a ride over to Indy every day and then fly right home.
I don't know how little it'll be, but it won't be in Columbus, okay? Or
it definitely could be, though. It could be during the week.
No, it could be, but that's not why you buy a plane.
All right, just get two then. Get two.
All right, now we're talking. What if we
Okay.
got hit in that little...
Oh, perfect. I'll do it. Hey, there's no point. Like, you think planes are small? No, I took flying lessons in the tiny little guys. Like, I've been in the smallest planes. It doesn't bother me. I get sick, yeah, but I'm not scared of it.
Really? So you just stare down that feeling of not being able to stop the spinning and the puking, and you're just like, yeah, I'll do it again tomorrow. Like, for me, that happens. I'm like, okay. I understand how I feel immediately after that. I'm not ever getting back in there. I'm not talking about you flying, by the way, with the Blue Angels. We're not buying you a F whatever the hell that is. But you're saying one of them little like Kias of the sky? If we parked that thing in Columbus, you would fly over and back every day with that thing?
Easily, yeah. I mean, that'd be my
Do
dream.
that tomorrow. What, $4,000, I think.
Say you can get a fucking lawnmower motor in one of those things.
Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow if that's all. And if you go down, though, not us.
I'm not worried about going down. Much more dangerous driving to the airport than flying. You know that.
That is true. The only planes you ever hear about are there's thousands of planes in the sky right now that you will never hear about. But I'll tell you what, when you're on some of those planes, it is hard not to think about the ones that you do hear about. There was this one pilot who I think he thought he was maybe the coolest guy of all time. Yep. He had us just riding like the bunny hill, like the slow, like it just felt as if we were just doing this thing. I was like, is there not a stabilizing bar on this gimmick thing? And it was, hey, cool flight, huh? I was like, for who? Okay. And I thought about never getting on a plane with that guy again. He was not there the next time. Thank God. Like the universe told us. I'm much different. I can't do it. Ty has to drug himself basically every time he gets on there. Yeah. I mean, Ty's indifferent. But I am somebody who, I'll get on a lot of planes. I get on a lot of planes. But every time I'm on there, I'm like, well, this is it.
Good run.
And I send all the text messages before every flight, every single one. It's like,
still,
hey.
That still happens to you?
Oh, every single time, pal.
Wow. Okay.
I think you have to have a healthy respect for what you're doing there. You know what I mean?
I have a very healthy respect for, air travel and what it is. I mean, the Wright brothers are from Ohio, you know that. So it's in my roots.
Yeah, they decided to leave though. They went to Carolina. I said, we got to get out of Ohio. Can't have Ohio take credit for this. Isn't that what they said?
No, they just need that little hill, man. A little hill to take that credit.
You know what happened.
What happened? Tell me, Connor.
Orville was like, hey, this place fucking stinks. Let's go to Carolina.
Get the beach.
I mean, North Carolina is very nice.
North Carolina is beautiful. Not as beautiful as Kiowa Island, though. That was gorgeous. I did not know that place. It was very nice to watch the other day with old Phil. Your guy Aaron got into trash talk. Thought the video was, in my eyes, not as good as a lot of the other things he could have done, but I like the fact that he's getting into the game. Did you edit that Star Wars video for him, or was that him on standing above a waterfall like we had potentially thought earlier?
I only got through like the first 4 or 5 seconds because I don't understand anything going on, but I would assume somebody sent that to him.
It was very long. You're right, though. It was a little long. Didn't you think?
I haven't seen any of the movies that are referenced in it, so I didn't know which one movie.
Me neither. We don't know which movie that came from, though. He was trying the franchise. You have not seen any of the franchise that movie came from, right?
That was Return of the Jedi.
Which one?
Thank you.
Return of the Jedi of the original trilogy was the third one.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so yeah, to our point, and to AJ's point, we didn't know what fucking movie that came from. Okay, it was different. You just think they're all the same? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Are you saying Taylor Swift songs are all the same? You're saying Star Wars
You
is the
know
same?
it was from a movie. He said, I don't know which group of movies this was from.
I don't think he said that.
Yes, he did.
No.
Run the tape
I
back.
assume there's multiple movies involved in that video.
Yeah.
Exactly. No.
No,
Is
that's
there?
one scene.
No, there is not.
No, that's one whole scene from the movie.
Okay, see, that could have been a possibility. I didn't think of it until he just said it, and then I thought to myself, yeah, that could happen. That's why it was so long. I thought maybe they put the entire series into one video.
From jump, you said, hey, I've never seen the movie. I've never seen the Star Wars movies, which is correct. This guy over here, this clown over in Ohio is saying,
Are you a big Star Wars guy?
I love Star Wars. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm all about the Force. Let's go.
The Force?
The Force. In some dialects, it is the fourth.
What?
That's not a dialect. That's normally a speech
That's a
impediment.
speech
and
impediment.
we do not
Which is
need
considered a dialect in some circles.
How dare you,
You're a
dude.
scumbag. I have a speech impediment. I'm allowed to say that.
That is, what a defense by you. What a defense
Check
by
the
you.
tape.
All right, let's go. Let's go to some phones, shall we? Let's
A lot
get
of
some
tape being checked today.
There's only 2 people with names on the phone line. Everybody else is kind of blank. Shout out to Mitt. Let's go to Alan in Houston. What's going on, Alan?
Pat, can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, I'm just watching to see if Mitt did forget to put their names on. I'm watching over his shoulder right now. Yeah, there's no names
got
on
it
that
right.
computer
You got
either.
it right, Alan.
But- yeah, Alan, what's going on, dude? Yeah, all right,
First of all, it's an honor to be on the program.
Oh, the honor's ours, Alan. Thank you, man.
Let me start by shouting at my Houston Astros, showing Trevor Bauer Power Hour, whose boss,
Scored
giving him
2
his
runs,
first loss
dude.
last night.
Yeah, the thing about your Astros, though, is in the crowd, a Dodgers fan was pummeling an Astros fan's face. I saw it. It was unbelievable. The Astros fan, good durability. He ordered bacon and eggs with a side of grits. Okay, this guy got up and stared the man down who was just pummeling him and said, "What? No, you definitely just lost." But I'm like, it's nice to know that you guys won on the diamond. Good for you, dude.
Thank you.
No problem.
But that's not the reason I'm calling. The reason I'm
great.
calling is because I was on Twitter a couple days ago, saw a post about top 5 running backs in the league, and there's a certain name that wasn't on there. Certain ex-Ohio State running back who I know, and his name's Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh.
You know, Nick Chubb was on there, your Alvin Kamara's, your Derrick Henry's, of course,
Christian McCaffrey.
If you look on Zeke's Instagram,
Dalvin Cook.
he has some workout videos.
Aaron
He's
Jones should be on
looking
there.
like a beast. He's in the best shape of his life. I know there's been some talk about his fitness these past couple years, but with Big Mike coming back for his second year, with Dak back, watch for Zeke Elliott to rush for 2,000 yards this season and put himself back in the conversation for best running back in the NFL.
Okay, Alan, I like it. Cut a promo for Zeke. He has kind of disappeared. The team last year, though, disappeared. No Dak. I guess, there was a couple years there where Zeke was the guy. They had that offensive line that was just boom, boom, making moves. Zeke does look good, but when you're talking about running backs in the NFL, I think at one point Zeke was definitely in the conversation, just like there was a lot of guys definitely in the conversation at different points. It's not easy. That's a tough position. There's a lot of great running backs in the NFL right now, AJ.
Yeah, there isn't. I don't know where this list was made. Was it NFL.com or whatever? I'm sure there's lists you could look up every day.
I think Alan's friend put it out. I think Alan's friend put it out.
Alan's friend Jeff.
Jeff, yeah. I think Jeff put it out there.
Shout out to Jeff. Yeah, I mean, but when your team isn't winning, and there's a lot of people that have very, very good seasons just that nobody hears about if your team isn't winning.
Well, Christian McCaffrey, that team isn't
I'm not
winning.
saying that Zeke. Zeke had some fumble issues too.
Yeah,
That's not
was.
Zeke,
It wasn't his. Yeah, it was the fumble.
It's the long sleeves too. Hey, listen, you can't have those sleeves on. You know what I mean? I think, now, nobody will say anything when you're not fumbling with the long sleeves. But as soon as the long sleeves come, or the fumbles come, it's like, hey, those long sleeves probably the problem. You need to put one of them rubber things on. Let's go ahead and change the entire look here. But I was able to do this for I don't know, 17 years of my life? Well, not anymore. Okay, once a fumbler, always a fumbler until you change that long sleeve shirt. That's kind of like how everything goes. But once you start losing the ball, though, defenses know that you start getting targeted. It's just like any position. But if
you're already targeted, I mean, the ball is so important in every defense. I think every year it gets more important where teams are trying to find a way to create turnovers. So everybody is chopping at the ball, trying to put your head on the ball, whatever you can do. So if you start fumbling, imagine how wouldn't that be weird for your confidence? Instead, I think we asked, I don't know, Derrick Henry or somebody, like, if you do fumble, like, what is it? How does it change your confidence and everything? It's true. Like, you're thinking about not fumbling. I'm not thinking about, hey, I'm going to score on every single time I touch the ball. You're like, all right, let's just protect this little guy right here. And then obviously you're going to leave a lot of yards out there probably.
Was it Derrick Henry? I remember them talking about that. It's like, because now your first thought is don't drop the ball instead of just reacting and whatever. Was it a wide receiver? Was it a running back? I forget.
It could have been Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, Dalvin.
By the way, he's unbelievable. Yeah. He looks better than he's ever looked. And Christian McCaffrey, I was going to say this because you were talking about on a winning team or whatever. Christian McCaffrey, that year they were bad, there was 7 highlights a game of him either running or screen or pass or something like that. It's just not an easy position to be the guy in because there's so much talent at the position. But, I mean, let alone you go to Chubb in Cleveland. Yeah. I mean, they're in Hunt's there as well.
I mean, Fournette and Rojo.
There's a lot of great running backs, and the position has never been valued how I believe it should be, mostly because I guess the turnover happens because it's not an easy position. You got to block. You're going to get hit. You're going to get – I mean, there's Frank Gore's just absolutely a testimony of an anomaly at a position where it's not supposed to happen. He's playing forever, and same with Adrian Peterson or whatever. But there's a lot of great running backs out there. I hope Zeke gets back to, eating tutties as opposed to eating honey bunches of oats.
Yeah.
Great cereal. Mine got fed to a raccoon last night.
Really? How was that?
Excuse me, what?
You mean the one outside?
No, there was a raccoon in the house yesterday.
Pardon?
Inside the house?
In a cage. In the house.
Pet raccoon.
Not allowed to be there.
Pardon?
Has to leave. Leaving today. See you later. Going to a reserve. Sanctuary. Get the fuck out.
Who caught him?
Oh, it's funny you say that. I asked the same question. I didn't get the real story until about the 7th time I asked. So this guy was tasked with getting this raccoon out of some sort of something in a building. He was told to basically go kill this raccoon or whatever. He gets up there, raccoon staring at him. Super nice raccoon, gathers raccoon, smuggles raccoon out of building, okay? Lives in neighborhood of mother-in-law of me, who is massive animal. There's a lot of treats and everything. Goes over and goes, hey, do you know what to do with this raccoon? She's like, absolutely, understand completely. She calls Sam. Sam knows somebody. So then that raccoon gets driven to my house. So then this raccoon has had 4 different homes, okay, at this point of its life. And it's going to a sanctuary now here in Indiana. You're not allowed to have a fucking raccoon, okay? But I will tell you what. That thing was incredibly cute. Oh, so cute. The tail, little waggle of the tail and everything.
Hey, I don't want to is it weird that that guy, instead of driving him to your mother-in-law's, could have just driven to a tree line and let it out and let it go in the wild?
It's a baby, though.
Yeah, it's a baby.
You didn't say it's a baby.
It's a baby.
Is it? Are you bottle feeding it?
Essentially.
I do believe it was bottle fed at some point this morning.
Okay. I didn't know it was being bottle fed. Yeah. So yeah, it can't live on its own yet.
Well, and then that happens, and then also
probably can.
Jay finds a little baby doe in his yard. Yesterday, there's a little baby doe that Jay sends a picture of.
It's like a 2-day-old fawn.
A fawn out there, and this thing's tiny. And Jay's like, just found this, So obviously,
wait, let you hold it?
Yeah.
Well, I had to get out of the yard because it was in my yard with my dog. So.
And the dog is bigger than most deer, let alone the baby fawn there.
Yeah, so I didn't want to attack it. So I had to usher Roland into the house and pick him up with like a towel and try and move him out of the.
So that doe fawn has spots all over. It gets moved out behind his fence, but still on property. So here we go. Sam's coming out. All right, she starts. Yes, there it is. Sam comes out, starts petting it, and automatically goes, this deer's going to die. I'm like, if it does, it does. Because if it dies, something else is keeping us alive. You know what I mean? Like, hey,
circle life.
This is going to happen. She's like, yeah, but I don't have to know about it or whatever. I'm like, okay, listen, what do you want? Do you want to take this thing back? Do you want to bottle feed it alongside the raccoon? What are we going to do? And then what, are we just going to keep the deer, or is it going to run around the house? What are you going to do? No, but I think we should give it a blah, 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 or whatever.
That'd be sweet, man. Raise it like a dog. That'd be awesome.
Well, that's what I think we could potentially do with the raccoon in other places. We looked this up, but in Indiana, you can't. And by the way, I was on board after the interaction with the raccoon. I was like, all right, we'll keep this thing around. This thing looks like it won't shit all over my house like that corgi. So I will potentially keep that around. But we're at a point where last night, within a span of 2 hours, I learned that we were currently harboring a vermin raccoon named Pablo already, and then a baby deer was potentially coming to the house as well. It was crazy night at the zoo. The deer, the mom did find the deer that was moved, so it has gone on to do its thing. And the raccoon's now at a sanctuary, so all is good. But it was almost a very different life for me very quickly last night. And I realized that. And there's nothing I can do, by the way, if Sam wants to do it. It's like, no. And she's like, yeah. All right, fucking do it, I guess. I mean, if it's going to make everybody happier, let's go ahead and do this.
I had no idea they had raccoon sanctuaries. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
is it
like a-
specialized, or are there other
way. Is it
animals
like a
there?
farm?
Yeah, it's called the garbage dump.
Well,
Yeah,
Get
who
it
took 'em?
out.
Who took him to that reserve?
Sam did.
Okay, then yeah. I was gonna say if there's anyone other than Sam, I wouldn't. You can't trust it that he's there.
Oh yeah, I told Vinatieri I had a problem with like some sort of animal at my house like years and years ago, and he said, "All right, get out of the house, tell everybody to leave, and I'll take care of it." And I'm like, "What are you gonna do?" He's like, "Don't worry about it, I'll take care of it." I was like, "Oh, you're just gonna kill the thing?" He's like, "I don't know. You just gotta get out of the house, get everybody out, tell Sam, go ahead and get out, and just everybody leave. Give me 20, 30 minutes, probably 10, 15 with how dumb that animal is. I'll take care of it." I'm like, I can't have it. Can't have it, Vinny. But Sam took it to a reserve, I guess. I don't know. I'm learning a lot. These raccoons are pretty cool, actually. The deer, though, couldn't take it. The fucking paws, the hoofs would be all over the floor. I mean, it would be a problem.
Oh, you just let the outdoor raccoons in there.
I was going to say, the outdoor raccoons caught wind of this baby raccoon inside, and they're not happy.
Well, it's funny
You're in
because
for
the
a
outdoor
weekend.
raccoons do eat the shit cereal in the house that
Yeah.
gets bought. The indoor raccoon was eating my honey bunches of oats last night, and I was not exactly fucking thrilled about it.
They
But
heard about it.
Joining us now, another heartbreaking thing that happened last night. Hockey season ended. Joining us is one of the greatest hockey minds in the history of talking about hockey, a world ball hockey champion hockey coach on WXDX in Pittsburgh from 3 to 6 every single day. Tested IQ of 166, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Madden.
Yeah!
What's going on, Double M?
Pat, if the raccoon can wear goalie pads, tell the fucker he can move in with me.
Okay, let's get to it. You're referring to the situation that occurred with Tristan Jarry forgetting how to play hockey here. He started out the season rough. He got hot. Number 1 seed. He was playing good. He has his moments, and then all of a sudden, he just blows it for the entire city, the entire organization. How does that happen, and what happens next, Mark?
Well, Pat, you're putting it a bit strongly, but also incredibly accurately. I don't dismiss the other Penguins soiling the bed as well, because this is, after all, 3 straight first-round playoff exits. But if Jarry even plays average, the Penguins have won this series already. It would not have even gone to 7 games. They would have won it in 5 or 6. I consider him primarily responsible for losing 3 of the 4 games the Penguins dropped to the Islanders. So it was just a stink sandwich for the Penguins in general, but there's no doubt Tristan Jarry took the biggest bite. Where does it go from here for him? I would guess out of town, another job, employment, maybe at a job he can do a bit better. But if he plays goal again, it won't be in Pittsburgh. At least I don't think it should be. The fans will never forgive him, and the players can never trust him again. It's like Neil O'Donnell when he threw the interceptions that lost Super Bowl 30 back in 1996 for the Steelers. I thought Neil was a real good quarterback. That was just a bad game, but he couldn't play quarterback in Pittsburgh anymore. That's how it is for Tristan Jarry and the Penguins. I think it's tough to predict how this organization is going to react, because you have a GM in Ron Hextall and a president of hockey ops in Brian Burke, who have been on the job for a very short time. And with the pandemic and no contact outside of the prearranged press stuff, it's tough to get a bead on what they're thinking.
What are they supposed to do? Pat explained to me earlier how Sidney got cross-checked in the back, and Pat even tweeted that, hey, they're two of their best players, the toughest guys. Are they what are they going to do to try to help Sid, and what can they do?
Well, Burke and Hextall, AJ, believe that bigger is better, and the league is trending toward heavier. It happened in 18 when the Capitals won the Stanley Cup, and again in 19 when the Blues won. And whenever one sort of team wins, there's a run on the league moving in that direction. So I think the team will get bigger and heavier, but how the coach will react to that, Mike Sullivan, because Mike Sullivan said after the game last night that the Penguins' relative lack of size had nothing to do with them losing. And I don't know what moves they'll make with Sullivan. I don't know what moves they'll make with the three core players, Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. I had thought that if they went out in the first round that either Letang or Malkin or possibly both would exit, but now I've been told that's likely not going to happen, and I've been told the chances of Sullivan coming back are about 50-50.
Okay, I just assumed they would blow it up, right? New Hextall and everything, new leadership, basically, new decisions being made. Sully's been around a long time. Thanks for the success. Obviously, you don't move on from Gino and Sid. I don't know what their contract situations are, and I think Gensel has proved himself as a player, and there's others. Letang's been around a long time. Who knows how that goes? I assume they're just going to try to rebuild this thing. I'm wrong in thinking that?
Yeah, not because it's not the right thing, though. I wish you were the GM. The Penguins' 2 peak periods have been preceded by blowing it up. That's their formula. But I just don't think they're going to. I think part of it is they lost a lot of revenue during the pandemic, and I think they figure they need those guys, the intact core, to sell tickets. I mean, Sid's not going anywhere unless he asks out. And with Gino and Letang, they have 1 year left on their deal. Sid signed through forever. But Malkin and Letang have 1 year left on their deal. So I think if there's any drastic changes to be made, they will put that off for a year and just let them walk. Because really, you're not going to trade them for much, Pat. You're basically clearing cap space when you get rid of those guys because both Letang and Malkin are 34 and Sid is 33. So I think they'll put that off. I think the guy that's going to get traded, and this is based on nothing I've been told, but I think Gensel's likely to be traded because he's 26 and he's affordable and he's very good. But he's small. He got physically overwhelmed in this series. It reminds me of 2014 when the Penguins traded James Neal for Patrick Hornquist. They traded a guy who could skate with skill for a good hockey player who was much more physical and more committed in front of the net, more effective in front of the net, more accurately. So that's the kind of deal I think they'll make is their offseason signature. And like I said, it's 50-50 whether Sullivan comes back. I think if you bring the core back and Sullivan, the team won't change at all. They won't do things any different at all. So Sullivan may wind up out, although, again, I don't have a true feel for that. If they are going to do that, though, they got to do it soon. Because there's a lot of coaching vacancies out there. There's a lot of good coaches out there.
Yeah.
And if you wait too long, back when they fired Dan Bylsma, they waited too long and had to settle for that junior A jabroni, Mike Johnston.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he didn't even last 2 years. If they would have made the decision right away, they might have got Peter Laviolette. He was available back then. So I would personally, and I'm not a Sullivan basher, he's done a great job here, but in sports, coaches hit an expiration date. I would like to see them get Rick Tocchet back as the head coach. He's available because he understands how to marry skill and big as good as any hockey mind I've ever known.
Okay, so that saves the Penguins. Last question about hockey before we get into your thoughts on the world and everything like that. If Sidney Crosby, you said unless he asks out, Sidney Crosby's never going to be asked to leave the Penguins, right? He is Pittsburgh. He is the Penguins. And if he did, how would that be perceived, you think? Because we have seen this in other sports. The NBA, it's happened. In the NFL, it's happened. The NHL has always had a very different culture. And I'm not saying Sidney's going to do this or not, but if Sidney Crosby, the greatest hockey player of all time, was to say, get me the hell out of here, how do you think that would be perceived? And what do you think would happen after that?
Well, first off, he's the greatest 200-foot player of all time. He's about number 4 or 5 in the overall rankings. He's great. He's done a lot for the team and for the town. Whatever makes Sid happy, I would have no problem with him doing. I do not think he'll ask out. I think he sees himself in the vein of Steve Yzerman, who was his boyhood idol, and Mario Lemieux, which is one guy, one team. And I got to be honest, Pat, I look at guys like, Wayne Gretzky, who ditched Edmonton for his Hollywood wife in L.A., and Ray Bourque, who went to Denver like a dime store hooker to get a Stanley Cup he didn't deserve. I think guys like that tarnish their legacies. So I would be disappointed for Sid if he wanted out, but not in Sid. Again, he should do whatever he wants. He's certainly earned that.
Mark, okay, let's transition over to the Steelers. What's the feel like in Pittsburgh? Are people excited? Are they thinking, hey, this team, we're going to send Ben out on his high horse, he's going to win the Super Bowl and ride off into the sunset?
He's slinging it, Mark.
Well, never mind what I think, AJ. Never mind what Pittsburgh thinks, rather. Who cares? Let's talk about what I think. I am going to Vegas in July, Pat, and you're a gambling man, am I right?
Yeah.
I am betting big, like 5K on under 9 wins.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to videotape it for my radio show and for my blog because I think that's what's best for business. And I think the Steelers, AJ, are a borderline playoff team, and there is a lot of optimism locally to answer your question because there basically always is. I think they're like a 9-8, 8-9 team. It's a tough schedule and a tough division. And I hope what I'm about to predict doesn't happen, but I think Ben's going to get hurt. That's a bad offensive line. He's a 39-year-old quarterback who doesn't have the mobility anymore. I just don't think that O-line can protect him. So for the purposes of gambling, that's what I'm predicting and betting. And obviously, if I can benefit off anybody's misery, I'm willing to do that. But I hope he doesn't get hurt. If he doesn't, I think they're a 9-8 team outside 10-7. But that offensive line and the holes on defense, I just don't see it. And I think Cleveland and Baltimore are pretty good teams right now.
Cleveland could get better, by the way, if they bring in Julio or something like that. The Dwayne Haskins thing, I completely forgot about that. I saw some footage of him at OTAs. Dwayne Haskins, very similar to Roethlisberger. Now, that is a shot at Roethlisberger's overall resume and success that he's had in the NFL, sustained success. I mean, that I'm not saying but you see, there's a lot of similarities. Big arm, big body, can extend plays. Now, not going to be electrifying running. Is Dwayne Haskins the answer, or do you think that that's something that they'll have to address here before the season still?
I think, no. I mean, the backup quarterbacks are Rudolph and Haskins. There's no doubt about that. I think there's a great deal of potential with Dwayne Haskins.
I think so, too.
I think the Washington football team gave up on him too early. One thing that I know the Steelers are very happy about is he showed up for OTAs in great shape. Everybody is commenting upon that. So is he the answer? I don't know. I think, Pat, the opportunity might be there because once Ben retires, I think the long-term successor is somebody they have yet to draft. But there will be a transition year or two where a guy like Rudolph or Haskins will get that opportunity. And, if it's Haskins, it's up to him to make the most of it. Now, I don't think your guys, Juju and Claypool, were at OTAs. Where were they? Do you know? I know you like them.
Oh, they're working on their speed right now. They're at a speed camp. They'll be over in a couple of days.
I heard they're at TikTok camp.
Well, that's probably, by the way, very valuable camp to go to. Yeah. I assume you learn new dances, you learn new edits, and by the time the season comes, maybe they won't have to dance on logos because the TikTok camp taught them some other things. You know what I mean? This could be good long-term, Mark.
Hey, maybe they'll have great seasons. I don't know. And people think I hate the Steelers. I just don't like what they've become. When I grew up, Pat, I revered the Steelers because they were the team that didn't act like this, that never acted like this. That's my problem. But I hope they do good because it's best for business. I'm a big fan of Big Ben, always have been, my former neighbor. But I want to see how much the offense, the Matt Canada offense, the new offensive coordinator, I want to see how much it really changes with Ben at changes the way they do things with Ben at quarterback. I mean, the Matt Canada offense is predicated on lining up under center with a lot of play action, a lot of deception. Ben barely lined up under center at all last year. Is he willing to do that? Will he be in danger if he does? A lot of questions to be answered, but I'll tell you one thing I'm convinced about. Najee Harris, over 1,500 yards total offense this year. Write that down.
Yeah, he's an absolute stud. I like that you like his personality, by the way, because I enjoyed talking to him a lot when he came on the show. He's a terrible towel twirler, but he's usually in the game, not at the game. He'll learn that out, that whole thing. Do you feel like potential old man yelling on front yard whenever you say stuff like that? Or is that something you will ever adjust to? AJ and I have talked about this a lot. I saw the locker room change when I was in the NFL towards the end of it. It was much different than what it was at the beginning. It's just but it's a whole different world now with everything. Do you see yourself ever coming around, or are you at this point listen, this ain't how you do it? Because tried and true is the way that you have known for long time at this point.
25 glorious years, Pat. And I don't think I'll ever change. No, because put it this way. You know how they could change me? Win. You dance on the logo, win. You're on TikTok every 5 minutes, win. That's all you got to do is win. They don't win. They have 3 playoff wins in 10 years. And that's not the Steelers. So I hope they do win. That's the only way. The absolutely only way to change my mind. But I'm a lot closer to the end than even to the middle. So whatever they want to do is fine by me. I'm just going to, call it like I see it. And if, for one thing, and Pat, how long have you done radio now? What you're nearing what, 2 years?
3, I think 3 at this point. Yeah,
3 years.
3, yeah.
Have you developed a contempt for the audience yet?
Like hating them?
Yes.
I don't think so. I mean, there's some callers I hate, and there's some people.
You will.
I will. I'll hate them.
Oh, you absolutely 100% will.
Really? I didn't know that. I thought we were going to have a good little time. We're going to have a good run. We're in this thing together. That's not how.
Oh, no. The financial rewards and the notoriety and the fame, they far outweigh the contempt for the audience. But the contempt for the audience will definitely grow. Trust me. Pat, you're a lot like me, and I mean that in the best way. You will grow to hate and hate and hate some more. The athletes, the audience, everything about this, because you'll get tired of it. You're too smart. If you were dumb, you wouldn't get tired of it. You're too smart.
Okay, well, it's interesting because there has been plenty of day here for the first time ever where we walk in and I go, we got to talk about fucking bullshit again. And it is to the point where it's like.
That's well put. I can't say that on my show, but you're right on the money. For example, now that the Penguins are done, what the frig do I talk about?
Hey, did you see the Pirates? Did you see what sell the team, Nutting? You hear me? Sell the team. Did you see what happened today? 2 outs. 3rd inning. Guy hits a basic routine ground ball. There's a missed throw. What's that?
His name's Javi.
Whatever. Misses. There's a ground ball. A throw's missed. Then all of a sudden there's a rundown. Man on third comes in, scores, forgets that this guy's still in the play. He gets all the way to second. The Pirates are a laughing stock. I don't know how many days you get out of that, but that is what you can at least go for.
Well, you see, but this shows how the Pirates have always done me dirty, Pat. Because they did it the day after the Penguins lost.
Yes.
Why couldn't they have waited a week when I needed material?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. This is selfish of the Pirates. This is unbelievable.
Like always. The guy's name's Will Craig, right? The first baseman?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I heard Tristan Jarry sent him a thank you note.
All right. Well, I don't know if anybody's going to get over Tristan Jarry. I'm not sure that what happened in the playoffs to the Penguins will ever be able to be in conversation with the stupid Pirates making a stupid Pirates move in the middle of a stupid Pirates game that makes you think that the stupid Pirates somehow have gotten stupider. It is just, why don't they sell the team, Mark? Have you I feel like you and I probably on the same thing. Is it just because of the money? Why? Like, for instance, in the NFL, McCaskey family, they're potentially going to sell the Bears here in the very near future, they're saying. Allegedly now, depending upon who you listen to, the Chargers, they're in financial problem. Allegedly, the Spanos family, we don't know what's true and what's not true. They're going to sell the team. Getting these teams is a very, very, very hard thing to do, a hot commodity. Jay-Z's trying to get in on a professional team. A-Rod just bought a team. How can this guy still have the team? How have they not been forced out of the... Pittsburgh would be a great baseball city if they were good. How have they not been forced out, Mark?
How do you force them, Pat?
You got to bully them, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, you force them by not showing up, but enough people still show up. And baseball, with the revenue sharing and the TV money and the luxury tax, it's a cash cow. And Nutting does spend money. He just spends it to pay down the team's debt because he wants to make the team as valuable as possible, not to sell it, but to leave it to his kids. He's a hillbilly thief. He's trying to smuggle Pittsburgh to West Virginia, one corn cob at a time. And they never should have trusted him in the first place. They never should have built him a stadium. There should have been certain guarantees before we, the taxpayer, and I pay a lot of taxes, Pat. I'm not like Indianapolis rich, but I'm Pittsburgh rich, and I pay a lot of taxes, and I deserve better as a taxpayer.
You do. Connor, what do you have?
Yeah, Mark, how do you feel about Tim Tebow, and do you think that that's going to work in Jacksonville?
What's your problem?
You know what? I don't think it's a big deal who the last guy on the roster is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know which way you were going to go there. I'm pretty happy that's
He can sell merch. Maybe he sells tickets. I don't see it as a bad move at all.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mark. Ty, go ahead.
Yeah, Mark, I wanted to know what your thought about Pittsburgh, the Pirates was as well. But do you think, is there any way, I mean, in your list of guys right now in Pittsburgh sports, who do you think the biggest stooge and the biggest sellout is?
Well, mostly the Pittsburgh media because they're cheerleading frauds.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, among the athletes.
Yeah, the athletes.
You see, if I say who I think it is.
Or maybe even the owners or the coaches.
Oh, well, it's Bob Nutting.
Okay. All right. Biggest stooge, biggest sellout, Bob Nutting.
That's easy. And
What about athlete, though?
What about athlete?
You really want me to say?
No, go ahead, Nick. You got a question?
I do, Mark.
T.J. Watt. Disappears in big games. Invisible in his 2 playoff games.
All right. Okay. This is Mark. What's
Hey,
your deal?
I gave you every chance to get out of it.
I did. AJ just decided to bring you right into the toxic pool there.
Why don't you give me a heads up, Pat? You think I knew what his answer was?
I did. I said, Nick, you're up. You do.
By the way, Pat, you said you saw the locker room change, and I believe that during your tenure in the NFL. Let me tell you a quote from my show that was one of the best things ever said on my radio program. It was by a man I'm honored to know, and I was the only guy he did live radio with, and he sent me an autographed jersey upon completion of his career, and I think so highly of him, and that's number 43, Hall of Famer Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
And when he did his exit interview with me upon retiring from the Steelers, I said, Troy, what's the difference between now and when you broke into the league? And he said, Mark, when I started in the NFL, I looked around the locker room and I saw men. Now all I see are little boys.
Troy Polamalu said that?
Yep.
Damn. That's why he saw me jogging on the field and was like, I'm going to ruin this child's life.
The other great quote was Mario Lemieux, who once said on my show, if you remember 1989, he had 199 points.
Nobody remembers this. Nobody.
What do you mean?
Nobody remembers what you're about to say right now.
I guarantee Moraldo does.
Well, he does, but this is a show. You know, I mean, we don't have the contempt for the audience yet. You know, if you're going to explain like what this whole thing is behind, but you can't act
like. The time you've wasted chastising me, I could have explained it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, AJ. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry. 1989.
Okay, I'll do it fast. 1989, Mario Lemieux, 199 points. Didn't get the MVP, had like 60 more points than Gretzky. They gave it to him anyway because he went to L.A. And Mario, when he retired the first time, referencing that obliquely said, I learned to judge myself on Stanley Cups and scoring titles because nobody votes on those.
Hey, if we could vote, we'd say you're the best, dude. Nick,
Even now this ends on a bad note because you don't have contempt for the audience. You have contempt for the story I just told.
No, I do know that I have a heart out there that I have to get to and that I'm getting yelled at about.
Please, if you were a real radio star, you would ignore the heart out.
Yep, I agree. Did you have an extra meeting with TJ Watt?
For the record, by the way, I do not ignore the heart out.
That's where the money comes, which, by the way, every time you speak, it is absolutely that. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Madden. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you, Double M, man. What a guy. Woo! By the way, talk to Ric Flair, post Mark Madden, hang out with Ric Flair. Always glowing things to say of Mark. Mark is Mark Madden. AJ, why'd you do that?
I honestly had no idea what you're like. How is TJ a sellout?
Who knows? But you knew something terrible was coming, and that's why you just continued to.
I don't. You live in this Pittsburgh bubble where you don't hear of anything other than that. So I don't know. I'm not. You got to let me in.
Yeah, but when you're asking about him giving an answer of who a stooge and a sellout is in Pittsburgh, and he says Bob Nutting, it's like, okay, we all agree on that.
Answer.
And then you go, no, excuse me. Well, what about bury somebody, or please? And you know,
I didn't ask. Who asked the question?
Let's get to a break. Ty did. Exactly.
Yeah, and got an answer, and then you poked for a player.
Yeah. Follow up. That's what they do. Follow up questions. That's what always gets the good answers.
Maybe we'll get an Emmy for that. Thank you, AJ. We're back in 4 minutes.
Anyone that does it.
Huh?
Continue. I know you have an out before your heart out comes in like 3 minutes. So
yeah, this is the Pat McAfee Show. We'll see you in 4 minutes. What a show, what a show, what a show. Today's challenge will be a frozen pizza basketball shooting relay. Zito and I will have to eat half a frozen pizza. Once we finish a half a frozen pizza, our teammate that'll be next, in my case, Nick, will have to make a layup, then a free throw using the same ball. Once he makes those, he will then pass the ball to Foxy, who will have to make an NBA three and then a half-court shot.
Boys, are we ready? Get to our spots.
Zito and I are starving.
Social distance. No, social. Pizza. Cheers, pizza. Pat is off to an early lead. Pat is dominating Zito. Zito eating much slower. Zito's eating much slower than I thought he would.
I use scissors to cut this son of a bitch to the fork.
Pat used scissors to cut the pizza because we do not own utensils in this office. I mean, Zito is cramping up. Nick, go. Free throw now for Nick. Zeke is still finishing his pizza.
Yay!
Foxy, you're off. Foxy from
you
three.
You can rebound for him, Nick. Let's go!
Bailey, go!
Foxy, Big Motor's going to pitch that up. Oh, yes!
Dave McAfee is off to quite a lead.
Oh, my God! Oh, Nick!
Oh, he's down!
On the wall, Nick.
Bailey hits the... Foxy's on! Bailey at the free throw line. Is he choosing to granny like he did?
Oh, Bailey! Going
Connor,
in.
go!
That was going in.
Foxy is at the home run. Connor misses. Foxy barely misses. Oh, this is electric. Pat is now on to the second half of his pizza, and Connor cannot buy a bucket. You hate to see what's happening here.
Stooge.
Oh, an air ball at this point. Has Connor ever shot a basketball before? Connor hits the three. He's now back to the half-court shot.
Here we go.
People will remember that in this same position, Connor went 0 for 12. 0 for 12 in basketball.
He's stacking badly ninja.
Oh, there's a stack guide. That was his original plan. Are you regretting the stack decision? The Joey Chestnut of pizza basketball racing, Pat McAfee, has finished. Nick, layup, go. He's getting psyched out for Billy McConnell. Doesn't care. The free throws. Nick, first free throw up, air ball.
Take your time,
It's not even close. Don't worry, Zeke has like 6 pieces left.
Take your time, Nick. Take your time.
This is the Billy McConnell factor. Foxy is up. Foxy from 3 and half court.
Bingo.
Bang.
Bingo. If he hits
All
in his
Foxy
first
needs is a
swing,
half
we'll
court.
give away 5,000.
Oh! 5,000 to the commenters who picked Team Pat.
Suck it, loser. I finished.
I actually would have made more money the day I signed than my whole contract with Indy.
Dude. Why did you decide to turn down a lot of money to come back to Indianapolis for the year?
True story, no bull. I prayed about it. By 3 o'clock, I'm signing somewhere. And then 2:55, I got on the phone with Chris. Like, are we going to get this done? Like, how can we get this done? He came up with a number, and I'm like, all right, it's all right. Well, I guess it's meant for me to go to this next team. As soon as I closed his message, Ursay texted me. I said, there go my sign right there. When he texted me, that's when we got it done. When he texted me, we got it done. Hey, did you see my eyes tweet yesterday?
Yeah, is that when you got the text from Ursay?
No, that was a text that I was almost gone.
Yeah, where are we going to go?
Hey.
Baltimore. You don't have to tell us, obviously, but I do believe Baltimore was in on something. Yeah. And then also the quarterback.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Every day is game day for these guys. It's showtime on the Pat McAfee Show.
Massive weekend for the racing community. Yeah. That's right. This weekend, and this weekend only, on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox, a race for races. Ladies and gentlemen, the Coca-Cola 600 from NASCAR is this Sunday. Yes! This Sunday, right before Memorial Day, you'll be hanging out at the house, probably cooking out a little bit, having the time of your life. What you need to do at 6 p.m. is turn on the Coca-Cola 600. Shout out to NASCAR. Shout out to a big race weekend. Cannot wait to watch that. It caps off the greatest day in motorsports. NASCAR's longest race at 600 miles. Brad Keselowski's the defending winner, but who is going to end up in victory lane? Who will hopefully not end up like that? Who will take the Coca-Cola 600 this Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Fox?
Yeah! Can't wait to find out.
What a graphic, by the way. Shout out Jay. Way to go.
Yeah, baby Jay.
Way to go there. Shout out to NASCAR, too, getting involved. We appreciate the hell out of you. Best racing that you could possibly want to watch. 6 o'clock, Fox, Coca-Cola 600. Ain't that right, AJ?
I can't wait, man. I will be there.
Whoa, where you're
watch
gonna
on
go?
TV.
You're going?
I will be in front of my television.
Okay, let's wrap up some phone calls. Me too, by the way. How could you not be with a Coca-Cola 600? 600 miles? That's a 10-hour car drive.
That's right.
Look forward to it every year.
That's a 10-hour car drive that they're just going to be flying around 180, 190 miles an hour.
Rainier Zeitlo.
Right. Rainier Zeitlo. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. Let's go with, they probably do have the Michelin windshield wipers, if I had to guess on those cars. Let's go to Jake in Chicago. Jake, what's going on?
Pat, AJ, and boys, how y'all doing today?
Not too shabby. How are you, pal?
Doing pretty good. Tell you the truth, I called in about half hour before the show started and was at work. It is now 1:50 my time, and I'm at the gym. So, nothing wrong with that. I've been enjoying listening to you guys. So, shout
nice.
out to you. Shout out to AJ. Shout out to the boys. Zito, go Cubs, go.
Go Cubs, go, baby. Very done. What do you want to talk about, dude?
All right. Well, first things first, Pat. I was watching that Friday vlog. Did you decide if you were going to be a free bird or a horseman? Did you let Flair down?
Jake, great question. Thank you, man. I hope the workout's going great. Will I be a free bird? Will I be a horseman? Will I be welcomed into any group? That is probably where we're going to head to first. Ric Flair popped off, caught a promo a little bit. It would be an honor to be a part of any of those groups. I love the fact that people call and chat. But I could see how Mark says he gets contempt for the audience.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't sit on hold, Dahn. Get the fuck off. Somebody else will get on, okay? Don't need to hear about it.
What do you think he was working out?
Hopefully his arms.
Anterior.
It's almost like you interrupted him. He wasn't
Yeah, it's like,
expecting
hey, I'm so sorry.
Sure. Hold
I'm
on,
so
hold
sorry,
on, Pat.
okay?
I just got to do a few more curls here, pal.
Which, by the way, I respect and I appreciate, but, like, there's people listening, okay? There's 20,000 people watching. Like, let's at least have a little bit of respect, okay? I get that you waited on hold, all right?
He just wanted to hear the show. He probably doesn't have Sirius. That's a way to hear the show.
YouTube.
I mean, he's going to watch YouTube while he's jacking weight up?
No, but you can listen to it.
You can listen to it, yeah, same thing.
It's a lot harder, but yeah.
You're right. You're 100% right. Just do a call, maybe cold call, listen in, then when we pick up, complain about it, and then hang up. I get it. Anyways, Chris Mad Dog Russo, Mad Dog Unleashed will be on the other side. He has great callers. He has great callers.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about takes and stories about 4 or 5 minutes long. Get a chance to hear that and more on the other side of this break. We'll see you manana. Cheers. Listen, you've been waiting on hold. I'm sorry. I've been sitting in this fucking chair, too. And
the chair's busted.
And the chair's broken. Nick's happy. He wants me to hate these people. Nick wants me to hate. Nick wants me to be... Nick wants...
Standing up.
Yeah, that's what Nick... Nick has been wanting this for a long time. You know? And I appreciate the callers.
Not everybody. Some people have common sense. Just the ones who try and make it about them.
Yeah, and by the way, I mean, I make it about myself a lot. The show is named after me, so I apologize for that. And I do try to get to all the callers, and I understand if you have to wait, but maybe a conversation happens that we have to get into, you know, and that whole type of thing. But I appreciate you waiting on hold. I do. I appreciate you calling in. I do. But I don't need you to bitch about it, all right?
Nope.
That seems to be happening on a regular basis, and I'm not doing it.
Like just if they drop off, someone else will call. Like, yeah, you don't have to wait as long, do you?
No, like, hey, we're sorry. We apologize.
Hey, nobody likes a complainer. So, you know, you got on the... Why don't you just get to it?
But I guess
Best
we're kind
call
of
ever.
complaining now about it, so maybe we should
I
take
think
our own.
That caller, though, he felt good about his real, like, inside question. Like, hey, I've really consumed all of your content, Pat, and he asked you that
I like that
specific
kid.
story.
Listen, I like that kid. I do like that kid. But I would like to maybe...
You absolutely don't. This is what you're very good at this, but you don't. You hate that kid.
I like that kid because he did watch the video and he did ask me. That's like, so this guy
Yeah.
has invested. So I do appreciate
Would you
that.
hang out with him? Would you talk to? Would you, organically, you think you'd ever hang out or talk to this kid?
I mean, I'm not organically meeting many people at this point in life. Okay. So I don't know if maybe we did cross paths and we did maybe, but I don't like that this has become something that people, I waited on hold for this long. It's like, okay. And I waited this long in the show to hear your voice and it fucking stinks. So are we
So are you telling them? Are you telling callers like, hey, I understand, I appreciate you, but if the first thing you says is how long you talk about is how long you've waited on, I'm gonna hang up on you. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm kind of doing right now. Like, we do not need this to become a trend. You know, like, I appreciate the callers. I enjoy the callers. I take callers every single day. I'm sure everybody else does that. I've listened to other shows. They let callers do like 5-minute stories. I don't know how those hosts don't get kicked off the fucking air, though, for wasting everybody's time. I just, there's some people that are awesome. Gumpy, great caller. Guy's a host of a show in here. There's other people we enjoy a lot. Gary from Connecticut, by the way, I don't know where he has been.
I don't know.
He was batting 1,000 there for a while, way back in the day. John from Georgia had to suspend him for about a week or two numerous times, and our first run was serious. But
Pepe.
there's his son. Pepe is always.
Lee Battle had
a good run.
That dude from prison, he's really good.
Yeah, Chad, I believe his
from him
name.
in a while.
Chad. I'll see his tweets though.
Okay, good.
I'll see his tweets. He's still around.
Phew.
But I'm just saying, like, I get it, man. I'm sorry you waited on hold. I wish I was a more, like, choreographed show where I'm like, okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to take calls, and we're going to do this, and we're going to take calls, but that ain't going to happen.
Well, it's a privilege, not a right. I mean,
You get to.
a lot of people are calling into this show. So, like, for every guy who's bitching about that, there's like 1,000 people that wait on hold the entire show and don't get through.
Took me 3 days to get through the first time I called in. So.
And we thought your name was Dumpy.
Yeah.
Didn't say anything at all.
Well, you should have there, though, by the way, but you were. The phone lines are important to the show. It adds like it's an important part of the show. Francesa told me, no, they're not your fans. Those people want to be on the stage. And if they want to get on the stage and they're at a show and they stink, you yank them off the stage. You yank them off the stage. These are not your fans. These are people that want to be a part of the show. You got to treat them as such. It's like I treat them as listeners. I treat them as a voice of the people. I feel like I could treat them better, I guess, get them on quicker when they call in. We could readjust the entire show for when these people call in so that, when Jake was at work, we could have got him on there. Would have been much more convenient for him. I could do that. I don't see it happening because I'm not talented enough to do that type of thing, but I'm about done with it. The contempt, as soon as he said that, I started thinking, like, the callers I have contempt for. I do. Yeah. Especially the people that call in, like, the shout out AJ, shout out boys. Okay, these are the questions, like, all right, I fucking just put you through. All right, can I get a hello at least? Can I get a howdy doody? How you doing? Anything like that? Just, there's a couple things. Let's go to Seth in Pittsburgh. Seth, I don't want to hear your bullshit.
So much pressure on him.
He's a Pittsburgh guy. He's good.
Hey, what's up, Pat and the boys?
Seth, my God! What do you want to talk about, pal?
Hey, I'm visiting Pittsburgh, PA for the first time in my life.
There we go.
And I'm just wanting to know, I want to know the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts.
Okay, head on swivel, south side. You know that by now.
Yeah, I knew that one.
Yeah, casino will take your money, but it will be a fun atmosphere. You will not win, but you'll be a fun atmosphere down there. You got to stop by downtown, really get a look at the point, Maybe ride the incline up there to go get a good view from Mount Washington up there. I mean, have the time of your life, Seth. I knew Seth was going to bring it. AJ. You see that? That's why I let him in there.
Hey, good job. You laid out what anyone that's listening to this show, wherever they are, if they're ever in Pittsburgh, they know a few things that they can do that they could have Googled.
Cannot Google it. You got to keep your head on a swivel on the south side.
But actually, if you would have said put your head on a swivel on the south side, it would show up clips from the show would probably pop up.
Or that the casino is definitely going to take your money. That's not showing up in the Google. I've never been with somebody who has won at that casino, and I have never won at that casino. That is a casino that takes your money, but it's a cool place.
Yeah, shouldn't they pay homage to Rob Dunmire or whatever, that weatherman you talked about yesterday? His grave?
Joe DiNardo.
Jesus Christ, AJ.
What's your fucking problem, dude?
Rob Dunmire.
Good to hear you, Nick.
That's a show, dude. I can't. Chris in Montana. Chris, you ever play at that golf course? Rob Montana, basically, this guy says. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, Pat, AJ, boys, how's it going?
Well, you're coming into a bad spot. I'm going to let you know, Chris. Normally, I'm in a pretty good mood. This guy just pissed on Joe DiNardo's grave.
Well, yeah, fuck AJ, but at the same time, fuck the other guy who was trying to work out.
Yeah, Jake. Yeah, listen, Jake, we appreciate you being a part of your workout and being a part of your day. I don't need to hear you bitching me about it, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got a lot of other stuff going. I had a raccoon in my house last night, pal, all right? I'm trying to talk about shows. I'm trying to remember shit that's going on everywhere. I'm sorry I don't get to you immediately upon you getting on the line. We will call this the Jake from work, then Jake at the gym show someday, but that day's not today, my friend. What do you want to talk about, Chris in Montana?
So, I just want to talk about the match going on in Big Sky, Montana.
Here we go.
I don't know what sources you have telling you that it's going to be hard to get into that place, but I think your sources are right.
Why is that?
Which really sucks. Oh, just because people that I've heard around here, don't even know that course exists. And a couple of people that do say that you're not going to get in unless you're a member there already.
So this
And
is
then on
the
top of
country
that-
club in Montana? Is that what it sounds like?
Supposedly. So Big Sky is like where Justin Timberlake and Katy Perry and all these celebrities have houses.
Brady.
And no one's allowed to go there.
But are they opening up tickets to the public? Do they want to have a gallery for this?
Not a chance.
I would assume not.
No, they don't.
Thank you, Chris. I heard there's like a 700. There might be a 700-yard hole.
Really? Par 6?
Par 7.
I think
Seriously.
If they go, I guess I read a tweet, and it seemed like the person knew what they were talking about. They were like, if they open this course up to what it could be, it's some of the longest course that ever exists or whatever. So DeChambeau, you would think would be in quite an advantage in this entire thing. But Phil also hits bombs, and it's a big time in the Big Sky, so we're just pumped to be out there.
777 is the longest hole, number 17.
777 yards.
Par 5.
Good luck.
It's got to be elevated, right? Something to.
And it's not even close to the hardest hole on course. It's only the 10th hardest hole on the course, so must play shorter.
What's the hardest hole? Yeah, I would assume.
Par 4, 470, number 4.
Ooh. Hey, that one's tough. That'll eat your balls, too. You got to watch it.
Number 4 will get you.
Yeah, they say you make it past 4, then you get past 8. 8's another tough one.
Yep.
And then you're kind of all gearing up towards 17, which is 777 yards.
Assume it's at altitude, right?
7,500 feet above sea level.
Yeah. It's higher than Denver. That ball is going to go a long way. We should go up there. If we go up there and are allowed in somehow, we're definitely punting, kicking, throwing balls, too. Yeah.
Stay away from that. What hole eat your
Pulls at
balls?
number 17, by the way.
That's awesome.
It's downhill then?
Yeah.
Oh, so it probably plays like 500.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's not a 777-yard uphill. I'm sure.
I could be 100% wrong. I just Googled the golf course and hole 17.
No, you're right.
So what if DeChambeau drives the green?
You start from up there on the mountain? Where's the tee box?
So at the Rolling Fields Country Club, which is where we all grew up at, there is a hole. The tee box is up on a mountain, and then there's just a massive cliff, and then there's a fairway, and then there's a green, and it accounts for that entire thing. But you can drive it to the sand in front of the green if you hit it right. It looks so far though because you're up on top of a mountain where you're teeing off from. What if DeChambeau just goes bombs away and plugs the green from this thing on 777 coming out of the sky?
Longest drive of all time.
All time.
768 yards.
And then Phil will hop in there and he'll hit one over the green. What a moment. This is going to be good on July 6th. Have you talked to Aaron at all about his golf game since hearing about him being in a golf tournament?
No, I have not spoken with him, but I'm definitely excited to watch this thing.
Let's go to Jake in North Dakota. What's going on, Jake?
Hello?
Hey, pal.
Hey, how's it going, boys?
Hey, boys. Hey, everything's good up there in North Dakota. Hey, how you doing there?
Real good. Hey, I got a question. So, if Rodgers is back on the Packers, which I believe will happen, can they make it back to the NFC Championship and Super Bowl?
Great question, Jake. Thank you, pal. I was going to ask him about the Dakota marker, which was back in South Dakota, by the way, but I didn't want to bring up anything a little bit too much there. Aaron Rodgers is back on the team. They go to the NFC Championship game?
There's a pretty good chance, yeah.
They go to Super Bowl?
Pretty good chance. If they get Julio. Fucking go get Julio. Go get Julio, goddammit.
We could have talked about that for 3 hours today, by the way. That's how much I'm so confused by this whole Julio thing. What?
Is there something we don't know about? Like, what's going on?
Smear campaign.
He's 32. He hasn't had it's not like he's shown a decline in how he plays. He was banged up a little bit last year, but the dude can still play.
Let's go to Tyler in Cincinnati. What's going on, Tyler?
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, boys? How are we doing today?
Just hanging out. How are you? What are you guys laughing about? I was like a can you hear me now type thing. And good.
Because you hate these colors so much.
At this point, yeah, I do hate them all.
Yeah, we can tell.
I'm well, thanks. You? What do you want to talk about, Tyler?
Got to keep it held down for Ohio.
Attaboy. OH!
Recently you've been talking. Yeah, Ohio, man.
Don't give it back to him.
No, he deserves it. He keeps me entertained every day.
Thank you, Tyler. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Tyler.
What a nice, this is a nice guy. All right, continue, Tyler. What's on your mom, pal?
Hey, recently you've been talking about in the Pro Bowls and the All-Star games that you want more of the skill competitions to be held down.
Bingo.
And once again, due to the NHL's lack of marketing, I do believe, in my opinion, that they have the most entertaining skills competition. And I just wanted to get your stance on that, with the guys shooting from a raised platform out in the stands, the goalies trying to score from full ice,
speed,
stuff like that.
The speed, the slap shot, the everything. Yeah, I agree, Tyler. I enjoy skills competitions because you get a chance to see like what people are doing to train. Now, the shooting from the elevated surface in the crowd that they added into the thing from like a tee box, I love that as well. It was like made for the internet. But once again, yeah, nobody, to his point, because that was a great call from Cincinnati there. OH!
He's not there anymore, right?
I was talking about for the entire state. You didn't want to finish that thing for the entire state. It was a great call, but once again, the NHL did not market it properly, and nobody knows that there's like 120 mile an hour slap shot. There's people skating faster than like Apollo Antonono was able to skate. It is, devastating for the sport that they don't do that. Hopefully ESPN and Turner will be able to take it to the next level, but the NFL does need to just do more competitions, more skills challenges for the Pro Bowl. Let's put up actual money. Let's have a good time here.
Yeah, I'm with you. How do you put like compelling things in there that'll be fun to watch and very competitive, but also like the least amount of risk for injury for those guys?
Yeah, that's why you have to put actual money.
225 is not going to happen anymore. They're not doing that anymore.
You have to put actual money on the line, I think, for the guys.
Yeah, but I'm saying just for like all the teams are going to be pissed because somebody's going to get hurt eventually if you do it. Like guy's going to pop his pec doing 225.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah, you're right. And then the quarterback challenge, somebody could throw their arm out, I guess, or pop something trying to throw it as far as they possibly.
Like LeBron, yeah, you don't want that to happen.
Yeah, it's the end of the season though. Off season's right around the corner,
And Peyton and Farvey and
when you're throwing the ball with that has the chalk on the tip of the ball that hits the moving targets, that's one of the fun. That's my favorite thing to watch.
With the golf cart driving back and forth.
Yeah,
I like that
as well. And you see the chalk, pop up when it hits it. I like that.
I was at the college skills challenge when I was a senior. I went to that thing. I missed my flight because we were celebrating a Senior Bowl victory the night before, but I did show up at some point, and I got no preview of what we were doing. I just kind of got dropped into it. Still won the Around the World Challenge, no big deal. But as it was time to, that whole thing. But the quarterbacks, the golf cart that was driving them across, that's when I learned that that's what happened. Golf cart broke. Right in the middle, stopped. So two people had to run out and push the back of the thing. And there's footballs just getting whizzed over top of their head. And it was awesome. I loved everything about it. We should do that. We should set up those skills type challenges. There needs to be more of those.
Hey, you know what we should do is go to, I think I've said this on the show, go to a driving range, have someone set up in like hockey gear, and we get to just fire. We can bring some fans and raise money. Just someone fire golf balls at him. The guy's like 200 yards away, maybe Nick in full hockey gear. And every time you hit him, like money gets donated.
That'd be cool if that was
I'd glove every one of them. I'm not like fucking Jari, dude.
Yeah. So Nick thinks he would catch those golf balls. We're building a driving range in the backyard at the house.
Let's go.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What's that?
A driving range? Like your yard's big enough where you can hit driver?
No, but I'm building a range where you put the net up,
Oh, just so you can hit. You could put that in your basement or anywhere in your house.
Yeah, but I want to see the ball fly.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. But you're hitting into a net.
Yeah, the net's have you ever been to a driving range, dude? What do
you're setting up like a Top Golf in your backyard.
Bingo.
Okay.
So I think it will be very easy to put Nick out there
running around. Balls?
You get a golf cart. You get one of them those golf carts.
You gonna do it? Yeah, I know. All your vehicles definitely work all the time. So who's gonna drive and pick those balls up?
I will. I mean, that seems like a good time.
That's a fun thing to do.
It seems like a lot of fun, doesn't it?
People are teeing off too.
I'll do it.
Okay. All right.
You give me full goalie pads. I'll stand out there too.
Maybe stand on top of the golf cart that's collecting balls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kind of like how those people stand on the top of planes. They have like their feet locked in.
Yep.
Yeah. You just got to stand there with the hockey pads. And if you get hit or whatever, it's points or something like that. It's like our own version of Top Golf with moving humans.
Perfect game.
Sweet.
Kick save, dude.
Like Sorkin.
Yeah.
Guy's unconscious. They cut together a highlight reel of that guy from the series.
I'll never get over that deflection that Freddie Gaudreau hit. The puck went down. Sorkin didn't even look, and he just kicked it.
He kicks it.
Ever.
Too bad they're going to get dog walked by the Bees.
Hockey's over. The guys over at Roback have been sending us their performance polos, quarter zip pullovers, hoodies, and hats.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll be honest, we are in love with their stuff. It's soft, it's comfortable, and it's fresh. Ty is actually wearing one of the hats right now. High quality stuff from Roback here.
Yeah.
Spelled RHOBACK. Roback is allowing us to be active while looking good. It's an absolute game changer. Ain't that right, boys?
Yeah, love this Goff hat. Great for Goffin.
And the quarter zips are pretty dope.
They're very nice as well.
I have not worn the polo on a course yet, but it looks very nice. It is an athletic, professional look. You know, it's business cash taken to a comfort level that you could have never guessed, AJ Hawk.
I know. I actually just, thanks to CFO Phil or Bruce or whoever back there, got me a box of Roback stuff. Just came to my house.
Bruce? Why are you just firing on everybody right now? Who's Bruce?
I don't. Well, there's CFO Phil. There's a lot of people that you don't tell me about behind the scenes that I haven't met.
There's not. There is not. What? There's not.
Bruce Wayne?
Somebody. I emailed with somebody. Gave him my address. Oh, is that Bruce?
Is that Roback
Brown?
Bruce?
Brown. Yeah, there's not a lot of people.
What's his first name?
He should think about
Bruce.
changing.
Hey, listen to this. Hold on, let's get to this. Roback. Bruce Brown. Bees. Hey, Roback's performance polos are next level. It took them over 20 iterations to get the perfect collar structure that lasts after many washes. True, it does remain a professional. There's no more like stupid flabby collar or accidental, you know what I mean? It is unbelievable. It's unlike any other polo out there. Their print designs are starting to take over and gain attention of several NFL stars. I'm not even a big polo guy, but Roback's polos are so good that whenever I put on a collared shirt, it has to be a Roback.
Yeah, that's right. You did say that.
Mm-hmm. Ain't that right, AJ?
That is absolutely correct.
Use code PAT, P-A-T, at RHOBACK.com. What's that?
I didn't hear whatever you said, but yes, I agreed.
Let's go to RHOBACK.com. Use code PAT. You'll get a generous 20% off for all new customers through the end of this week. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. 1/5 off, 20% off all polos, quarter zips, hoodies, and performance tees. Going to have to pay full price for those hats. They are worth it, though, with code PAT. They just dropped gear for Memorial Day weekend. Have more summer polos coming out soon, so go check them at Roback.com, RHOBACK.com. Shout out to Roback. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Roback.
Any final things to say, AJ, before we get out of here? We got to go hop on a bird to get down to Tampa for one of the last. Oh, I wanted to talk about this in the middle of this. You know, I don't have a lot of people, okay, what you were alluding to. We don't have a lot of people. We have us, right? I guess we do have a lot of people, but everybody knows our people. Somebody had their people reach out to me to set something up. One of the most disrespectful interactions I've ever been a part of in my entire life.
Somebody's like publicist or marketing person. What was it?
Something along those lines, yeah. They asked me, just the clueless about anything that I do, this person. Just
what, they were pitching their client to come on?
No. They wanted me to go on a show. Okay. And by the way, big fan of show.
Yeah.
Very cool to go on. But the way that I'm being talked to is as if like, congrats, you hit the golden ticket. Like shut down everything you've ever done in your life to come be a part of this show. And I almost sent back like, hey, fuck off and tell whoever, told you to reach out, fuck off to them too. You know what I mean? Like, and I'll send that to them directly as well. So I don't like the big people talking to people thing, especially when it's like.
So are you not doing this show?
Never. Fucking will never do it.
Yeah.
Never, ever.
Is this Rogan? Was this young Jamie, your email?
Now, with Jamie and Rogan, shut it down. Hey, listen, take the show off for a week, boys.
Take a day off.
I am going. Okay, I do have self-awareness, but if it was Jamie, who we have met, who I'm a fan of, and we were asked to go on to, the show, shut it down. I will go do that. There's a couple others, too, up in there where I'll do it. But when I just get this congratulations thing from a show that we are bigger than.
What did the original thing say? What did the original note to you say?
Basically that, what I'm saying to you right now.
Like, congrats, you've been one of the few chosen to come on to this show and be a guest.
They gave me dates that work perfectly for them, and we've saved these dates for you. It's right in the middle of our show every day. And then literally right in the middle of the show, as soon as As soon as the show starts, every single day that they like, congratulations, we've saved these dates for you. Got a lot of people doing this. I was like, well, that's right in the middle. Oh, I heard there's a chance you would fly out to do this. So you would fly out or whatever. I was like, who the fuck are you? Don't ever text me again, okay? And this is, but if
how
it was
long,
Rogan,
how long of a show? How long would you be on?
I'm not sure. I think it'd be.
Would it be a long sit down thing or is it like a quick hit?
It's a pod. It's a long. I would probably be
an hour.
It'd be cool. It'd be very cool.
All they have to do, all that person has to do, and you could say, oh, well, not like the booker knows the schedule of every person they reach out to.
Not a booker.
But no, if this person is saying like, congrats, you have been chosen. You're obviously a big deal because we're reaching out to you, but they don't have the time to just click on your Twitter bio and see 12 to 3 you're on the air.
Just do a little bit of research. Just like
not even research. Just click on his Twitter bio. That's all you got to do.
But I felt like that was a little bit of a slap in the mouth. So now
they're on the list.
The group that person represents, it's like, okay, like now I know, like
they represent a group of people.
Well, yeah, just who are associated with. There's a
in what genre?
Just shows. They talk. They speak. But anyways, you're not going to get it out of me.
What state would you have had to go to?
I would have had to travel. It was not in Indiana, believe it or not. But I think self-awareness is a real thing.
How'd you end it then? Do they know you're upset?
Kinda, yeah. I had a great passive-aggressive final text like, hey, I'll shut down everything I got going on to make this happen. I'll get back to you. You know what I mean? Like, I'll also tell WWE to delay SmackDown or two so we can get this done. Mm-hmm. I will knock this all out for you. Don't even worry about it.
We know that person's like, oh, great. Yeah, perfect. That's what we thought.
Yeah, you're right. They probably think they hit a home run, and then it's
all right, we got him. We locked him in.
Yeah.
Are they just flabbergasted that you would turn them down? Like they just can't imagine someone turn them down?
There's never been a person that has ever told this person, go fuck yourself. Like I would assume. And this is just like, and maybe I'm just very different, but like we had bookers for us for a long time because the people that I book and get on the show are normally the biggest conversations we have. But for a day-to-day, like you had to have a book. I didn't like it. I don't like it. I would rather reach out like, hey, would you spend time with us on our show? Let's do that. That's cool. But there's a lot of people in that game, so they kind of have their Rolodex of people. In this particular situation, though, the entire conversation was started between me and the person. And then all of a sudden I get this person reaching out to me, and then this person just smacking me in the mouth, basically. It's like, all right, well, I hate you, and by the way, fucking hate you too.
Does the host know that you've had this interaction with their people?
It just happened.
See, that's the thing. Like, if somebody is representing you, whoever this host is, like, you got to know how they absolutely need to treat people the way you'd want to be treated.
Well, it's just like you said it, like Rogan. Like if Rogan was like, hey, I was wondering if you, if Jamie was hitting me, hey, I was wondering if you would ever think about coming down to Austin. It's like, fuck, yeah, pal. Sure. Coming down tomorrow, actually. Yeah. Like, that's the type of thing. But when, what we have built here is 3X, 4X, what you, like, I don't think that is, you know what I mean? It's just a smack in the mouth, I think.
I get it.
And I don't like the people talking to people. So when you said Bruceage, I'm like, who's Bruce? Who's speaking for me? Yeah. Okay, I need that. I need to figure that out in this whole thing. But I'm happy you got your Roback Polo because they are very nice.
I got the quarter zips. Yeah, I like them.
All right, we got to get on a plane. I'll see you later.
Good luck, man.
Maybe that contempt is building, huh?
What?
Maybe it's good.
Hopefully.
What'd you say?
A little contempt, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, every caller, when they started out like kind of slow, I could just see your face just like, oh, I'm going to murder this person.
Well, because I do feel bad that I didn't answer it sooner, but also I got a fucking show.
You should.
Dude.
Doing
like,
stuff.
You know what I mean? So, like.
You can't feel bad about that. Come on.
And then I'm letting you on to do your thing. I guess it's gift horse in the mouth situation. Very thankful for the callers, but like I don't need you. Like, all right, dude.
It's better to be real than to spin lies to everybody. You know what I mean?
Well, that happens everywhere.
You also had a guest in every hour today.
Not normal here.
No.
Because I've gotten very lazy on sending text messages asking people if they want to come. Now, that will change in the football.
They should be happy though. Okay, the callers and the listeners should be happy because I've said it a million times. A lot of hosts use callers because they're lazy and they want them just to eat up showtime.
And I've thought about that a few times. When we run out of stuff, it's like, all right, let's go to a caller. But then I'm like, wait a minute, there's still something we can go to. Oh, we can add this. Like, it's just, it's a balance. Every day it's a balance. I'm learning. I'm figuring it out. I'm not going to do this forever. But while we do it, we might as well enjoy it. Don't bitch at me as soon as you get on the air.
Nope.
Okay, please.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to see the show you turned down. Hopefully they send me an email. I'm gonna jump through hoops to get out there, whoever it is.
And by the way, I would love it if you did. Okay?
And I'll defend you the whole time. I'll just talk about you.
Don't defend me. I don't care. Do whatever you got to do.
Like, hey, where's Margaret, your marketing lady? She sent some emails that were very, very troubling.
Margaret.
If that's her name, I'm the best.
Well, you ruined Joe DiNardo earlier, so
Yeah.
look at you bouncing back with Margaret. I mean, what a legend this guy. AJ, I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that watches, too. You guys are the best. I don't have a contempt for people that watch this show. I'm very grateful and thankful and forever will be. But also, sometimes I don't want to hear your shit, okay? I don't want to hear it. All right, I got other stuff to go on. I'm getting punked in my own fucking phone by somebody, okay, that shouldn't be punking me that I've never met before, okay? I want you to, bring me to another level, and instead of
they don't think they're punking you. They don't think they're punking you. I promise you that. Whoever this person is, Margaret.
They know what they're doing.
They need to look in the mirror and realize that I took it that way, and that's just
man in the arena. Diggs read that yesterday, right?
There you go.
Bingo.
There you
2
go.
days ago.
Diggs, that was.
Sometime
I
this
watched
week.
the clip. That was beautiful, Diggs.
Great reading. With
Thank
that
you,
hat,
AJ.
too.
Thank you, AJ.
Are we getting back on the winning side here, Hammer Down Boys, in like 36 minutes or what?
Can't promise
Rotate 'em
anything,
out, man.
but I'll try.
Let's go, boys.
What was that, AJ? You want to take them out?
Nah, it's a revolving seat up there, man. If you don't produce, you got.
I asked Foxy to host today. He said no.
Foxy can't host.
Why doesn't AJ come on Hammer Down and get some picks?
Oh, here we go.
I'm not a gambler. I'm sorry.
You gamble by smoking those cigars?
Every day with your
Well
life.
said.
True. That is very true, Connor. Very deep as well.
Try with both feet.
Yeah.
That's what we are. We have range, pal.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Good luck on your flight, man.
You be able. Thank you. That's very nice of you. Also, to Ty, please. Can you wish Ty good luck on the flight?
Ty, good luck with your digestive tract and on the flight.
Thank you, AJ. I appreciate that.
That's very nice. See, that's a good way to end today's show. Thank you, AJ. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been the show.
AJ.
Thank you, AJ.